We start a brand new week here on Jocks 94.5, three-man front. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you until 2 o'clock. SEC baseball will be in town. Teams will start practicing today at the Hoover Metropolitan Stadium. Games will get underway bright and early tomorrow morning at 9:30. Conrad's Alabama Crimson Tide. They'll be taking on the Missouri Tigers, first up at 9:30.
A little Bama with your eggs, Conrad.
Yeah, I'm disappointed. Need them to make it to Thursday so I can actually watch them play in person. So, fingers crossed.
You got a busy schedule the next couple of days.
I do. Mm-hmm.
You're golfing with some big wigs coming up on Wednesday afternoon. Heard all about that?
It's a rumor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call us, Landrum.
Is it?
Big wigs?
I guess so.
They need to get more creative in how they describe us.
That's right.
That is not us.
It's one of the best run things that the SEC does, and I'm so happy that the city of Hoover and the SEC, they came to an agreement some time back that for the foreseeable future, this tournament is going to stay here. Of course, when I see the weather forecast from James Spann that points out there could be some inclement weather late tomorrow evening, I immediately start thinking about all of our friends up in East Tennessee that always have a problem when precipitation falls from the sky during the SEC baseball tournament.
Yeah, but there's a chance, just given where that team that he covers and where he keeps his focus might not be around, so he might not have to worry about it.
It might be a short
week.
trip for the Tennessee
with the new
Volunteers.
format. You never know, Pat.
Yeah, and that's one thing we all have to get used to is that this is a single elimination. Everybody is coming to Hoover, which will be fun. Now, if you're a Mizzou or South Carolina fan, you better see them quickly for the 3+ hours that they'll be in town.
But if you're a Mizzou fan, if you're making the trip to Hoover, you're coming here for the entire ball of wax. It's, hey, I'm going to hang out and I'm just going to watch really good baseball.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of the Missouri Tigers or South Carolina or Texas A&M, I mean, you've got to really love college baseball.
Yeah, I'm not going to Omaha, so this is going to be the best collection of teams we see at one single site in the course of a week, a half week that we're going to see all year. Why not?
So Alabama gets things started tomorrow morning at 9:30 against the aforementioned Missouri Tigers. Auburn, they get a respite until Wednesday. They will not play until the final game of Wednesday night, and we've seen in the past, Landrum, where that final game of the bracket on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, it might be after 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it could be. And hopefully they don't get that weather because a lot of times that will push that later game. Or you get some really good games, high-scoring games, extra inning games during the course of the day. Anything can happen in tournament play. And anytime you have 4 games and on one field in the course of a day, then those things happen.
It's pretty exciting because you'll have SEC baseball tournament this week, and then you will have the SEC spring meetings beginning a week from tomorrow at the Sandestin Hilton on the beautiful shores of Destin, Florida. And that will be a very newsworthy type meetings, I've already been told.
Well, first and foremost, I would think that 9 games that will be discussed, and then the potential of a playoff format or play-in format.
And we keep waiting for Claudia Wilkin, which could come down at any moment. Now, that would be my preference, is that deal comes down like on Tuesday morning on the West Coast, and then all of a sudden that's what you're dealing with in Destin.
But the feeling that I'm reading around that whole NCAA settlement case is that the time is right that we could get this here in the next 2 days.
Could be soon. Very soon.
Today.
Very soon. So we'll see what happens. But back to SEC baseball. Auburn is the 6th seed. Auburn this year, for a team that was as poor as they were last year, they went out and made some adjustments from the transfer portal. Auburn won 7 of their 10 SEC weekend series this year. That's amazing. And including, it looked like that they were going to lose 2 out of 3 to Ole Miss, and they just came off the deck yesterday, or I should say on Saturday, and pulled off a big win against the Rebels. But Auburn's 38 regular season wins are the most since 2010, since Auburn won that many games, and the 17 SEC wins are the most as well since 2010. So it was a banner year for Auburn baseball. They will play the winner of number 11 Mississippi State and number 14 Texas A&M. That's the late night game on Wednesday. Auburn won 2 out of 3 against Mississippi State when the two teams met at Plainsman Park. The Tigers did not play the Aggies this year. So if they play Texas A&M, it will be the first time. Meanwhile, Bama, they lose 2 out of 3 to finish up their weekends of the regular season to the Florida Gators. They closed with 16 conference wins. That was the most SEC victories for Alabama since the Tide won 18 back in 2009. So, see, most wins that Bama's had since 2009, most wins Auburn's had since 2010. So it was a good year for Alabama and Auburn baseball, but it was just the fact that the SEC, as usual, it was like the basketball season. You could have a record year in your program, but still finish 6th, 7th, 8th, or 9th in the standings.
Well, it's not only the competition pitching it on certain teams. Most teams in college baseball, it runs very thin, especially when you get into middle relief or when it just comes down to starters. Any amount of injuries that start piling up at that position, that can be catastrophic, and you're just going to have to outslug people, and that's very, very tough to do in the SEC.
And that's what we see a lot of times in Hoover as well, right? Is pitching can become a problem the later you get into the week, and so those teams that are advancing to the finals, semifinals, whatnot, kind of have to get a little creative. But that makes for some really entertaining baseball games. We got a lot of that last year.
Yeah, a lot of scoring.
Yeah,
a lot of scoring. So the Tide, they're going to square off against number 16 Mizzou tomorrow morning, and then we'll see what happens from there. Alabama softball, they advance. Big win against Virginia Tech. And
Patrick gets to keep his job.
Yeah, based on our listeners on Friday. A lot of people upset about Patrick Murphy, but an NCAA record 19th Super Regional.
Wow.
Headed for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
That's solid.
That is an NCAA record. That's amazing. That's the good news. The bad news is you're playing Oklahoma, who's the number 2 seed and the most dominant softball program in America. And game times and dates will be determined later, but
I won't be going to Norman for this game.
They advance.
Well, the good news is for Alabama, this is not the most elite version of Patty Gasso's Sooners that we have seen, but this was the rebuilding year, remember?
It was.
They lost all of those stars. They graduated all of those players. And, yeah, they're still awesome.
Auburn, meanwhile, their softball season came to a close yesterday. FSU Dave's team, they took out Auburn yesterday. So Auburn women finished 35-24. What's amazing of the 16 teams left in the softball tournament, 9 are from the SEC.
And none of them are the number 1 overall seed.
Isn't that amazing? Oklahoma, Florida, Arkansas, Texas, Tennessee, South Carolina all will be hosting this next week. So
you didn't name one team though. Who was that? Who was that team?
It's
Conrad?
Texas, but something else. There's like 2 letters.
Is it the new one? Is it the offshoot school, the East?
The
Corpus Christi one?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, Corpus Christi.
It was a rough week for Trev Alberts. I know Molly probably sent him a direct message on Twitter, hoping that he made it through the weekend because it was rough. They were taking on Liberty. You're talking about the number 1 team in softball, the Texas A&M. They call them the Women Aggies. Do they just call them the Aggies? What do they call them?
The Aggies?
Well, the reason I say it is because Tennessee's the Lady Volunteers.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, I think the majority of teams, because I do commentate and do some stuff for women's sports, most of them would prefer just the nickname, no lady in front of it.
Okay.
But I don't know in this instance.
Yeah. Tennessee is the Lady Volunteers.
Yes.
I'm not sure what the Mary Milkmen call the women's team. Not really sure.
They probably, do you think do they cheer for those games?
They should have. They needed them.
Didn't cheer them loud enough, obviously.
Yeah, they
got flamed.
This is the way it sounded against the Liberty Flames. We're talking about the number 1 overall team, the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies women's softball team.
Get the job done.
Payoff is on the way. Swing and a miss. Ball game over. Liberty breaks through. It does the unthinkable. It knocks out the number 1 overall seed and is moving on to its first ever Super Regional.
That had to hurt. That had to hurt big time.
That's when you didn't, with football season and losing your rival and ending the way it did. Of course, last year with Schlossnagle, your coach, he leaves for Maryland. You do get Bucky, so that's a shot in the arm. But if there was one thing you had to rest on as a Texas A&M Aggie faithful, it was, well, our softball team's really good this year.
Well, just think about this. You went into the spring season of sports. You had the baseball team that was preseason number 1 team in the country. They finished 14th in the SEC. And as of this moment, it doesn't matter if it's D1 baseball, Baseball America, you look at any projection, and Texas A&M will not be playing in the postseason. So enjoy Hoover, Aggie fans. It's over. And then you just heard the softball team.
Welcome to Birmingham. I love that, Pat.
The Texas A&M softball team entered the postseason as the number 1 team in the country, and they just became, this will be a little historical footnote, the first top seed ever to fail to get out of their own regional.
Making history, baby.
Thanks for the SEC.
Yes.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And it's just so great, too, that they get to look over and, man, we've been in this league for 13 years, and we can't win a thing. And all Texas did was go and win the baseball regular season title in their first year with their new head coach.
It's just, you can't write this stuff. It's the script is beautiful. So, yeah, so the Aggies fell miserably over the weekend and throughout the spring. So we'll see if Trev Alberts is able to right the ship.
It's like it's the reverse. It's almost like Texas A&M backed out of a deal with the devil.
It is uncanny how every single sport that they have, or all of the prominent ones at least, they disappoint every time. Every time. It's incredible.
And now you've got your big brother in the league.
Yep. And they are doing
They're just rubbing the salt in the wound.
They are doing
I
quite
just
well.
want to go back to what Pat said. That's so funny, though. Can you imagine every team checks into their team hotel here in Hoover, and they all have this pre-shot, pre-canned video that's team specific from somebody, either from the city of Hoover. Although you have nothing to fight for or play for except for pride, your season is basically over when the season ends here in Hoover. We welcome you to Alabama's third largest city. Oh, it used to be Alabama's third largest city. I don't know if it still is.
I think it is.
Okay. But welcome, Aggie fans.
Don't think there's a ton of them here.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be making the long trek from College Station. Just saying.
Well, we have a long summer of heat and humidity ahead, so keep your home comfortable with Trane, America's most reliable HVAC brand. And to give you more peace of mind, Trane is offering up to 10-year warranties on parts and labor on select Trane home comfort systems. So to learn more about this offer and to find a specialist near you, visit Trane.com.
We'll continue to talk about the SEC baseball tournament in Hoover that begins tomorrow morning. Also a big weekend in the UFL, how the Stallions did, what that means moving forward. Also, Braves take 2 out of 3 in Boston. This is Reaction Monday. Love to hear from you. Anything from the weekend, whether you're at the Regions Golf Tournament over the weekend, you're watching the PGA Championship from Quail Hollow, all of those subjects on the table. Love to hear from you. 1-800-239-WJOX. little bit of news from the state of Louisiana on this Monday morning. Not really sure if this has anything to do with the future of Brian Kelly or not. But the president of Louisiana State University is leaving, and he's heading to Rutgers University. So you go from Baton Rouge, Louisiana to Piscataway, New Jersey.
It's an interesting move.
And the people in New Jersey are those that care about sports, all 10 of them.
Yeah.
They are pretty excited because
College sports.
Yeah. They believe that they will now maybe turn the corner and be a little bit more competitive in all realms. But yeah, the president of LSU is leaving the Tigers, heading to the same position at Rutgers University.
I don't follow presidents of universities, but was this unexpected? Did they just come in the middle of the night, offer him a whole lot of money, or were LSU folks unhappy?
Well, the transfer portal's always open.
It is, even for college presidents.
Mm-hmm.
Tailgate seemed much different there.
Yeah, so he got his PhD from Maryland, so that's I guess maybe a little bit of a Big Ten connection there. And his wife is apparently a Protestant YouTube influencer.
Wait. Say that one more time.
What's this guy's name?
His wife is a Protestant YouTube influencer.
What's his name?
William Tate.
William Tate.
I'm trying to
William F. Tate IV.
I'm trying to understand what a Protestant social influencer is.
She is a speaker, and I guess she talks about the
Kim
Protestant
Cash Tate.
denomination on YouTube.
She talks about the Protestant Reformation with Martin Luther. Is that what she's on YouTube talking about?
I'm about to look it up right now.
She's an author?
I just have never heard that term.
I have not.
Bible teacher, speaker, and singer-songwriter. We got to find one of her songs.
Oh, yep. I found one. Yeah. It looks like she just kind of does like a video podcast about her faith.
Fantastic.
Maybe this is more about her.
Maybe so.
Going to New Jersey and Rutgers. They need to know about Jesus too.
They do. Just LSU to Rutgers. That's interesting.
Yeah, that'd be a game day downer in all sports.
Yeah.
And I've never been to Rutgers.
No, I've heard it's a great university.
I'm just going to make that claim right now. I have been to Baton Rouge.
I feel confident that you're right, and the whole tailgate scene is going to be maybe not quite the same as it is in Baton Rouge.
Cost of living, taxes. Hope he figured that into his new salary.
Yeah.
LSU losing a good one, Pat. How about
if you say so?
I
don't know anything about it.
Sure, we'll take your word for it.
Hey, all of you SEC fans and great people of Birmingham, Dobbs Ford, right there on Parkway East in Birmingham. Right now, they've got employee pricing. That's right. If you go into Dobbs Ford, select makes and models, they've got employee pricing. You're going to pay what the Ford employees pay, also 90 days until your first payment. It's Alabama's largest showroom selection of F-150s, Bronco Sports Mustangs, Explorers. Great selection, even makes and models that I didn't mention there. Great pre-owned inventory as well. They'll beat any competitor's price, and they're just wonderful, genuine people. Dobbs Ford. Go and see them. Parkway East, DobbsFordBirmingham.com. Go see and feel the difference at Dobbs Ford. And when you do so, tell them Landrum from Three Man Front sent you.
So the Stallions were in St. Louis over the weekend, a Saturday game, very competitive game. It was a great game to watch on television. Unfortunately, the Stallions lose by a point, 29-28. The Stallions jumped out to a 9-0 lead. Jamar Smith, 3 touchdowns, had a 65-yard scoring strike to Deion Kane. Kane also scored on a 50-yard bomb in the third quarter. The Thicka kicker from Mizzou back in his home state booted field goals of 34, 36, and 44. Stallions offense finally looked like the old Stallions offense. Smith did a really nice job running the attack. They had 369 yards of offense, 245 through the air, 124 rushing. Meanwhile, the Battlehawks only had about 275 yards of total offense. The Stallions defense, unfortunately, gave up some chunks of plays that put them behind the 8 ball at times. Jacob Sailors, the running back for the Battlehawks, he ran for 118 yards, about 7 yards per carry, including the 1-yard game-deciding touchdown. over 30,000 in attendance there in St. Louis. And those were tickets sold. Not that many people were actually in the building. St. Louis had a devastating tornado.
Yeah, it was awful.
That struck about 24 hours earlier. And the town was, I mean, it literally barely missed downtown. I mean, there were people in the St. Louis Arch that posted videos watching as the storm was coming like dead center to the city, the major center of St. Louis until it skirted off.
What time did it hit, Pat? Do you know?
I don't. Yeah.
Just given the amount of injuries and looking at some of the footage, and thoughts and prayers with all of those affected. We did have loss of life, but it looked like one of those tornadoes that potentially came through in the middle of the night when nobody was ready for it. But if you're saying 3 people in the arch and they were seeing it.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say there were, I mean, a bunch of videos, but there was one of, I mean, I literally saw the entire top floor of an apartment complex that got ripped off and moved down, and people that had lived there who were rummaging through. It was horrible.
Yeah. So still a great crowd based on what we've seen at other places. But so Birmingham loses, but they clinch a playoff berth because of other things that happened in the UFL. So it's interesting. And I think we had this situation last year, if I'm not mistaken, where the Stallions had already gotten their playoff berth, and then we play Michigan. Wasn't it the same situation last year?
Yeah,
and then we turned around, and then we turned around a couple weeks later, and we played them again in
Correct.
the USFL championship game.
Except I think last year it was actually the last game of the regular
right.
season and so you played them literally back to back.
That's right.
Yep. So 2 p.m. Saturday at Protective Stadium. Michigan will be in town taking on the Stallions. The other big story over the weekend, it was kind of the Heidi moment in the UFL. If you don't know what I'm referring to, back in it was in the early 70s, the amazing Immaculate Reception with the Steelers and Franco Harris. The game was interrupted because of Heidi, the movie Heidi.
It's
Sorry,
kind
have
of
you
like
ever seen
Heidi ho. That's what I was thinking of.
The network switched to Heidi.
Okay.
And a large portion of the audience did not get to see an incredible ending.
Think Ricola cough drops commercial
to the game. Yeah. So another issue that you have with the UFL, and there's plenty of them, that's rearing its ugly head, but ABC was carrying the Arlington Renegades, the DC Defenders game on free TV. And they decided with less than 2 minutes to go in the game that America needed to see ESPN's NBA Countdown. So they took the UFL game off of ABC television and moved it to ESPN2. Now, again, there's a lot of people that do not have cable.
Yep.
Or they have access to ESPN2. And so you watched the whole entire UFL game, and you decided in the last 2 minutes that America needed to see Stephen A. Smith do a pregame show about the NBA.
It was Game 7, Pat.
So keep in mind, this is what the audience missed. Arlington was going to spike the ball and set up for a field goal. Instead, our old good friend Perez, who was the quarterback for the Birmingham Iron,
Luis.
He fakes the spike. Remember, Dan Marino did that famously for the Dolphins against the New York Jets. He fakes the spike. He throws out into the flat, and guess what's happened? DC intercepts it, and they win the game. But the audience didn't get a chance to see it because they were watching an NBA pregame show. This league's got massive amounts of problems. Massive amounts. But when you're number one, that's a partner. ABC and Fox, they are partners in this league with Redbird Capital. And they decide that they're going to switch off for an NBA pregame show? Seriously? This plays into our next clip that we're going to play for you. There are a couple podcasters out there. One is called the UFL News Hub. Take a listen to what this individual had to say, especially about Birmingham and Memphis franchise moving forward.
it is worthless to have a team in Birmingham at this point. You've had multiple championships. You got a great coach, exciting players. That place should be packed. You have nothing else to do. Birmingham is a disappointment, and it should close, period. Memphis, I understand because of the connection to FedEx, but Memphis should also close too. Or pause. Be like, listen, we're going to pause you, and we will bring you back in 2 years.
Why would you pause Memphis for 2 years? Memphis has had a team for 2 years, and anybody in the city of Memphis will tell you they shouldn't have come back for year 2. But to say that Birmingham, now we're all disappointed about the crowd for the Stallions, but to say that Birmingham shouldn't have a team.
I take exception to, well, all of that, but especially there's nothing else to do.
There's generally as much to do here as there is any other town that has an XFL or a UFL team.
And it's interesting because this individual, if you go and watch his podcast, he is a huge DC Defenders fan, and he was wearing a DC Defenders hat while he was saying all this. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, I look at the statistics every single weekend for UFL attendance. And granted, I mean, they're between 12 and 14,000 for every DC game, but it's not like they're St. Louis and they're pulling 30,000 people and they play in a soccer stadium that only seats about 15,000. So, I mean, you know, come on, man. Really? We'll take a shot at Birmingham? Again, we have our problems, and we've talked about it on this program. It is disappointing. But to say that you would shut down the Birmingham franchise? What?
It's the highest quality product you have, and if all that matters is TV, then you're going to get rid of the team that's won the championship every year because they don't have as good of attendance as DC does.
What about the city of Houston, a city of 8 million people, and they draw 4,000 people?
Yeah, but Pat, you have to understand there's plenty to do there.
They do have the Astros.
Mm-hmm.
No, but to your point, then you go factor in population too. How many people do you have to draw from?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you've got, what, 3 times as many people in that city or more than that than in Birmingham. And
I try about 7 times.
Yeah, and they're drawing, what, half of what we do in Birmingham. And again, we're not satisfied with what we have in Birmingham, but they're drawing half of that.
Not to mention having a game at 11 a.m. on Mother's Day.
Nothing you can do about that.
When do we get DC again?
You don't. Not unless you play them in the championship game.
Hmm.
And they got to play St. Louis in the
That's right.
XFL championship. So
we get a rematch with what, Memphis? Is that right?
We got Michigan this week, then Memphis at the end of the last game,
Yeah.
and then Michigan again. But it'll be here in Protective for the
Yeah.
USFL championship.
Mm-hmm. So we've got 2 opportunities to show this podcaster that Birmingham deserves a team. That made no sense whatsoever because, one, if I'm not mistaken, I don't see a bunch of Federal Express commercials on UFL games. I did not know that they were a corporate partner of the UFL.
I was about to say, is FedEx pumping in millions of dollars to the league
Now,
every
the Smith
year?
family, they do absolutely do a tremendous amount for the city of Memphis, and he may be doing something locally, you know, at the stadium or something like that. I don't know, but I don't think they're on the upper tier of the UFL corporate sponsorship ladder.
Is the UFL now prioritizing how many butts are in the seats?
No, but the ratings are down too.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, it's a confluence of problems that it's not just people not showing up to the games. It's the fact that the television product is not translating like it did last year.
But I think you could easily say that Memphis, Houston, and San Antonio should all be far closer to any sort of chopping block than the Birmingham Stallions.
Yes.
Without a doubt. Love to hear from you. Text line is open, 205-834-9450. This is 3-Man Front, Jocks 94.5. got a nice beat. I like this.
Is this Kim?
This is the president, the outgoing president of Louisiana State University's wife. She's a Christian singer, correct? One of the things that she does.
Yes.
Kim Cash Tate.
Kim Cash Tate.
Yeah.
Win
Very
or
nice.
lose.
Like that.
KCT.
We were also talking about what happened with the UFL over the weekend in regards to switching the game to the NBA, and I misspoke. It was not the Immaculate Reception. It was the Oakland Raiders against the New York Jets. That was the game. That was the Heidi game. It was just a bad camera angle on Franco Harris on that pass. So didn't have the 27 angles that we have now. I mean, just think about it. The games,
And we still don't have enough.
Think about this. You and I, on a Friday night, we have more camera angles at our disposal for a high school football game than they had for the Raiders and Steelers in that Immaculate Reception that Franco Harris, that we, to this day, we don't know if he really caught it or not.
No.
Isn't that crazy?
What does your gut tell you? Did he or did he?
I don't think he did. But I mean, I have no visual evidence just based on countless interviews that people have given over the course of time.
That is wild. And with all of the angles, that reminds me, the game that watched the other night. No, that would have been Saturday night. It was the Fox broadcast of the Braves and the Red Sox. That was a good point. And there's that tricky corner there at Fenway Park with the foul pole, and it kind of tucks in where it's coming back to home plate.
The pesky pole.
The pesky pole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Drake Baldwin, outstanding rookie catcher for the Braves, hits one. It's a moonshot. And I thought it was brought up during the broadcast. We talk about the chip and think the UFL, they've got some of those advancements in technology. Why not Major League Baseball, where you have something coming out of the foul pole, or it's a laser and it goes up as high as the sky. Well, not too high. I guess that would be a FAA issue, but and you can track it and make it easier.
It's a good idea.
I mean, the umpire was right on top of it. I don't know with some of these things, why don't we adopt what we have at our disposal to eliminate some of these decisions, or hey, we got gypped.
Well, the good news is robotic umpires right around the corner.
Yeah.
So you won't have to worry
wait until they turn on us. Right?
I've seen iRobot. That didn't work out so well.
No. They gang up on us. Or they go on strike.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. And human umpires are like, no, we're not going out there. No.
It'd be cheaper to keep the human umpires than to keep the robot ones happy.
I would think so.
1-800-239-WJOX. Let's get to the phones on Reaction Monday. Anything you would like to talk about on this cloudy, not raining, thank goodness, Monday here on Jocks 94.5.
First up is our friend Dr. Mill. Hey, Dr. Mill, how are you?
I'm blessed. How are you all this morning?
We are blessed. Thank you, sir.
We understand it was a wonderful time at the Regions. Hate that myself and Landrum did not get an opportunity to get out there and hang out with you guys.
Yes, sir. It was quite exciting. And, of course, they had the weather delay. Even yesterday, things were suspended. And but I just left the course a little while ago. I was sharing with Conrad. But what should become the story of the year right here in Birmingham, Alabama, at the Region Tradition. Most of you all probably not aware that Angel Cabrera, and matter of fact, I talked with Angel a couple of days ago, and so we've been praying for him, some of the golfers on the senior tour. And matter of fact, less than 2 years ago, Angel was incarcerated.
Yep.
He ran into some trouble, and he was cleared by the PGA in December of 2023. Fast forward, this morning, about an hour ago, he was crowned the champion of the Region's Tradition, which is one of their majors. And so a lot of prayer has gone up for this man. And as you all may know, he won the U.S. Open in 2007, 2013. He won the Masters. In 2009, he won the Masters. 2013, he lost the Masters in the sudden death playoff. But this should be the story of the year. This man has worked hard, and through a lot of prayer, he wins his first major and less than 2 years after being incarcerated. And so there's a scripture, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ Jesus. And I spoke with his family a little while ago. They're excited. He's on the right path, and what a great story for the year. And Birmingham, once again, in the center of it. Angel Cabrera, the champion of the 2025 Regions Tradition, a score of 20 under. He beat Jerry Kelly by 1 stroke.
Wow. That is something else. And if I'm not mistaken, Cabrera, he was at he played in the Masters this year. Did he not?
He did, yes, sir. He played in the Masters. And, of course, as you know, once you win it, you're a lifetime member. But there was a little pushback. But, no, he's paid his dues. And as Coach Saban also say, we all deserve a second chance. But I'm really excited. I spoke to his agent earlier this morning, Charlie Epps out in Texas. And so we're excited. We're going to continue to pray. He still has a lot of great golf in him. He also plays on the European Senior Tour. But Birmingham is his launching pad for to come back into the spotlight with just a lot of power and determination.
Dr. Mel, thank you so much. We appreciate you sharing, and hopefully we'll see you very soon.
You'll see you soon. You all have a great day. Thank you for all you do, Pat, Landrum, Molly, and Conrad. You guys are the best. As a matter of fact, Don came out Thursday, and we had a chance to hang out with Tom Lehman, my dear friend. So look to see you all soon.
That sounds great.
God bless you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you, Dr.
God
Mel.
bless you. Thank you, Dr. Mel.
Appreciate the call very much.
I was there in 2013 when he won that, or he lost the playoff to Adam Scott there at Augusta. That was pretty thrilling.
Yeah, as Dr. Mel pointed out, there was some not a lot, but there was some conversation about him not being allowed to play in Augusta this year because he had spent 30 months in prison and
domestic abuse.
Correct.
Yep. So hopefully he's got things. He's right with himself, got a repentant heart, and looking to move forward. And it sounds like he is. We'll continue with the phone calls. 800-239 WJOX. Our buddy Greg is in Russellville. Hey, Greg.
Good morning, man. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Hey, Greg. How are you?
Doing good. Went fishing all weekend and caught some big fish, so
Good.
that was a good thing. But I was going to tell you a little interesting story about Rutgers, talking about that this morning.
Okay.
First, I wanted to, I'm a big baseball guy, high school baseball. I wanted to congratulate Hackleberg, Dessler, and Hartzell for winning the state championships. And also the team, American Christian out of Tuscaloosa, that knocked Russellville out, beat St. Paul in a very awesome, I heard through a 3-game series. It was pretty awesome. So anyway, American Christian's got that fella going to Alabama next year. He's played center field for them, but boy, he knocked the daylights out of a ball. But anyway, my reason to call is you talk about Rutgers. As you know, my brother lives up in New Jersey, Somerville, New Jersey, and he took his son to watch Rutgers in Washington. I think it was Washington last year. He gets to the game because somebody told him he could buy tickets at the window. So he gets there, and, he's preparing, about how much he thinks the tickets is going to be, and he gets there, and they're $14 a piece.
Wow.
So that's a little bit different than Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Sure
or
is.
Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
Just a tad.
Anyway, his son was talking about, he said the stadium was probably 2/3 full for that game. And he's bringing him down for an Alabama game this year. They're going to try to go to a big Alabama game. Well, his wife said, why don't we just take the whole family and go? And there's 5 in the family. He said, oh, I can't afford a big game in Tuscaloosa with 5 people.
that's
he said,
a true
that's
statement.
a whole lot different than these $14 tickets.
There's no doubt. Wow.
So I thought that was funny, but I thought it was very interesting that, that would be considered probably a big game there, playing Washington, and they got tickets for $14 each.
Wow.
That's something else.
Well, Greg, we appreciate
I just wanted to tell you that little story.
Thank you so much. I wonder if Greg's brother, he talks like he's from Jersey now.
Kind of got rid of the southern accent.
Yeah, something tells me probably no.
You need to call Golston Tree Service over the weekend. Plenty of trees down in central Alabama. The number to call is 205-337-4018. Operated by a certified arborist, Golston Tree Service handles the little jobs like trimming hedges or shaping trees, or that 24-hour emergency storm service you probably took advantage of, unfortunately, over the weekend because of the downed power lines caused by all those trees and maybe some damage on your property. Call Golston Tree Service. The number again, 205-337-4018.
We continue with your reactions to what happened over the weekend. 205-834-9450 on the Jocks text line, 800-239-WJOX. It's three-man front on a Monday, and we are Jocks 94.5.
Well, the president of the United States is back on United States soil. He was overseas last week, just in time to welcome the University of Florida Gator basketball team. They will be in the Rose Garden on Wednesday, as the president will welcome the Gators and their national championship basketball team there to Washington, D.C.
So they have a big week then, because they've got Boogie Fland in town today and tomorrow, and then they're going up to Washington, D.C. Looky there.
Mm-hmm.
Good time to be Todd Golden.
Yeah, it is. I'm wondering what does he serve the basketball team? Are they going to go during lunch? Or have they eliminated that?
Did he bring the portable McDonald's back with him, and that'll be
Was that
on
a
the
gift?
White House lawn?
He got lots of gifts when he was over in the Middle East. Did that truck, is it on its way over here?
I hope so. I sure hope so.
Will it be tariffed? I'm just kidding. That was too easy.
So I just saw that Todd Pettiford has been projected to pick 37th overall by the Pistons in the latest ESPN mock draft. So that keeps him in the second round. That's a good sign for Auburn's chances, potentially, of bringing him back home. There was a podcaster over the weekend. His name is Eddie Links. You can tell I spent a little bit of time of diving around different podcasts this weekend.
Found all Eddie Links?
Yeah, I did find Eddie Links. And take a listen to what he had to say about Janai Broome and his lackluster performance at the latest NBA Combine.
What is Janai Broome good at? This guy's not an athlete. He can't jump. He can't run. He's not strong. He's not that tall. What is Janai Broome good at? That's what NIL is doing to college basketball. It's letting guys like Janai Broome trick everybody into thinking they're great, when realistically, those are just guys who aren't good enough to take the next step to pro ball. Janai Broome was good in college basketball, but he is the quintessence of what NIL is doing to college basketball. There are 25-year-olds out there who are the best player on the court, but then as soon as they try to take a step to the next level, they aren't good at all.
Interesting. What do you think about those comments about Janai Broome?
I think there's a reason why he came back for another year at Auburn. I think he had heard those. He didn't maybe fit the NBA mold of what they view and prioritize as a first or even early second round pick. And he came back and he was a great college player. But to Eddie Links, I would say how many countless examples do we have over the years that guys were just great college players, whether it be in football, whether it be in basketball, and it didn't translate to the next level. Janai Broome, what all he did was get better as a player at the college level and become one of the top players in all of college basketball. That's what he did. That's what he did well, Eddie.
I mean, there's also examples of the other side of it, right? Of your guys like your Markelle Fultzes and people that are, I can't miss prospect, has to be the number one overall pick, and then they never turn out into anything in the NBA. Right? It happens on both sides of it. We see it in all sorts of professional sports. I will say to his comments, I was joking with Pat about this earlier. It is funny. I'm not saying that this is an indication of success or lack thereof. But we talked last week about Desmond Watson, the big boy from Florida that got drafted by the Buccaneers. So he is 6'6" to 464 pounds. His vertical at the NFL Combine was higher than Janai Broome's at the NBA Combine.
Yeah, that was not a very good look for Janai. Janai currently is projected to go 45th in the NBA draft.
Man, he's fallen
big time.
About a dozen picks back, if not more.
Big time. And the one thing about what was his name, Eddie Links, what I do agree with what he said, not about Janai Broome, but the back end of that, because you are going to see the longevity of the Chad Baker Mazzaras, the Janai Broomes of the world, that probably will not amount to anything at the pro level, which is completely fine, because if you can stay in college for 5 or 6 years and make that kind of money, at the end of the day, that's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
Is being able to make the money and take care of you and your family. So,
well, remember Sheboy a couple years ago at Kentucky, right? He won he won the Player of the Year award in college basketball. Didn't get a look in the NBA, but he was able to make millions of dollars in NIL.
Yeah. So just very fascinating taking a listen to what he had to say. I definitely agree with the back portion of that, not so much about the front portion about, Janai Broome, because I think he proved in the toughest league in college basketball that he's a very good basketball player. And somebody will absolutely take a chance on him, without a doubt. All right, hour number 1 in the books. We've got 3 more. Love to hear from you. The phone lines are filling up, the text line as well. Give us a call at 1-800-239-WJOX, 205-834-9450 on the courtesy GMC text line. This is 3-Man Front, Jocks 94.5. It is Reaction Monday here on Three Man Front, 1-800-239-WJOX, the courtesy GMC text line, 205-834-9450. And we welcome the interaction here on Reaction Monday. Anything that you saw over the weekend, whether you're at the Regions Golf Tournament, watching Quail Hollow, the PGA Championship won by Scotty Scheffler. Stallions lose a tough one on the road to the Battlehawks of St. Louis. Anything else you'd like to talk about? We are wide open as we get ready for SEC baseball.
How about our friends at Mandu? It's right there in downtown Homewood, and now the summer months are approaching. It's already warm outside, and that means less clothes. That means that you want to look your best, and Mandu, it's boutique fitness at its best. All FDA approved. It's electrical muscle stimulation fitness. So in layman's terms, you're going to go in, they're going to put you in a suit, they're going to hook you up to a machine that has cables that run to that suit. And for 15 minutes, they're going to put you through a workout. Now, those all different kinds of workouts that you can go through, but because of that technology approved by the FDA, 15 minutes, the equivalent to 6 to 8 hours in a gym. I can't explain how it works, but I can tell you firsthand it does work. Mandu in downtown Homewood. Check them out. Your first visit is free. And whether it's the glutes that you're trying to work on, if you want to look really good in that bathing suit, or you want to just focus maybe on the arms, maybe on the chest, maybe on the legs, maybe on the midsection, you can do that as well. Mandu in downtown Homewood. Get in there today for the free 15-minute session. You can decide for yourself. Mandu, MANDUU.com. Make sure you tell Paul and the gang that Landrum from Jocks 94.5 sent you.
So the inaugural rivalry weekend there at the Major League Baseball, it was a big weekend. You had the Braves up in Boston. The Cardinals were over in Kansas City. Of course, you had the Subway Series going on in New York. The inaugural weekend of this rivalry weekend, 1.6 million fans went through the turnstiles. That's 45 games over the weekend. That's producing Major League Baseball's best weekend total and average of 35,744. That is the largest average attendance prior to the Memorial Day weekend in the history of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
How about that? It was a big weekend. This is the way it sounded yesterday on the Braves radio network right here on Jocks 94.5.
Only one down. 2-1 pitch drilled high and deep over the wall and out of sight. A 2-run homer by Marcell Ozuna, and that thing got out of here so fast. He just rearranged the stitches on that baseball. And the Braves tack on 2 more and lead 10-4 in the 8th. What a display. 3-2. Line shot out to Riley. He catches the line drive on a knee to end the game. And the Braves come to Fenway and take 2 of 3. And a wonderful job putting aside the sour loss last night and then enjoying the sweet taste of victory today to take this series going into an off day.
So Marcell Ozuna, as you just heard, homered for the second straight day. Former Red Sox and former favorite of Conrad Van Order's New York Yankees, Alex Verdugo and Austin Riley had 3 hits apiece. The Braves move 1 game above 500 for the second time after opening the season 0-7. They got the day off today, back in Atlanta for a 3-game series against the Nats coming up on Tuesday.
I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Thankful for the 2 out of 3. That's what we said on Friday when we were talking with Barrett Slee. But also, something we were talking about with Barrett Slee. Could have been a sweep had your relief not let you down on Saturday. And Red Sox, I realized they got some potent bats, but Grant Holmes, I thought he pitched pretty well in the Braves, spotting him an early lead. You have a 6-2 lead, and then late innings, it all falls apart, and they win with a walk-off. But
is it official yet that Strider's Wednesday?
Tuesday.
Tomorrow. Or is it tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
Yep.
And Ronald on Friday?
Fingers crossed. Yes. Yeah,
big week.
Talking about the 420-foot home run he hit at Gwinnett. Let's see it at the big league level.
Let's keep that going.
Let's see a lot of them at the big league level.
So this weekend in Charlotte, North Carolina, Scotty Scheffler wins by 5 strokes, takes home the PGA Championship. It was a dominant performance by Scheffler. His first PGA Championship, his 3rd overall major title. He's got 2 Masters, now a PGA Championship. He made $3.4 million in Charlotte. He now has over $10 million in prize earnings already in 2025. Here's Scotty Scheffler after his win.
I'm just really proud of the way we fought this week. I was battling my swing the first couple days. I didn't have as good of a prep week as I would have hoped to, and it was a battle out there for 4 days. And Teddy did a really good job of keeping me in it, and Randy helped me figure some stuff out with my swing, and Marnus helped get my body right. And it was a real team effort this week, and I'm proud of the whole squad, and I'm looking forward to celebrating this one.
So Scotty Scheffler, 82 starts in the last 4 seasons. Would you like to take a guess how many cuts that he missed?
Out of 82?
82.
5.
Several.
3.
4. He's missed 4 cuts. He's had 45 top 5 finishes in those 82 tournaments. He's had 18 wins, 3 majors, and by the way, he also has a gold medal.
Yeah.
Mixed in there.
And an arrest.
He has won $82 million in his PGA career, which is 4th all-time in the history of golf.
You see it on 18 yesterday, and he plays the smart shot out of the rough, and then he positions it perfectly, and then he takes that iron and just dials it in. Like he was trying to ring the hole, which his accuracy is crazy, but missed the putt. Didn't matter when you're up 6 strokes and everybody else is finished.
No, it was interesting for a little bit with Rahm, and then he absolutely just collapsed. But no, I saw this stat last night. This is one of those stats where you're like, all right, you're in pretty good company here. Scotty Scheffler, only 3 golfers to have 3 majors and 15 PGA wins by the time they're 29 or before they turn 29. Him, Tiger, Jack Nicklaus.
Yep.
Pretty good.
It was a really cool celebration that he had with the family. I was worried about his son, Baby Bennett, though. As you saw, as they all embraced there, it looked like Baby Bennett's nose was getting smashed.
Oh yeah, with his wife, yeah.
If Baby Bennett could talk, here's the cry for help. Hey!
So if those numbers we just gave you did not prove to you how dominating he has been on the tour.
Oh, man, he's been good.
141 weeks as the number 1 ranked golfer in the world. 141. Amazing.
Not that it was a question, but he is the face of golf, correct?
Yes, if there was a debate between him and Rory, I think, yeah.
But it was a rough week for Masters champion Rory McIlroy. He did make the cut, but he didn't factor in over the weekend. He had a 3 over 287 that had him outside the top 40. Given McIlroy's track record there at Quail Hollow, we talked a lot about that last week with Doug Bell. I mean, he had over $10 million in winnings in his career at Quail Hollow, and it just did not work out very well for him at all. He had 4 career wins there on that course. His driver reportedly failed the USGA testing earlier in the week. Now, Scotty Scheffler's did too, so Scheffler had to change clubs. But Rory had driving problems all weekend long, just was not hitting any fairways whatsoever. And then, of course, to add fuel to the fire, he did not speak to the media after earlier in the week when he had his mandatory meeting with the media. He did not speak to anyone. Got out of there pretty quick. So.
Yeah, maybe not the best look there, especially after you just won the Masters and people want to hear from you.
Mm-hmm. Americans always get a bad rap. The ugly American, right?
Yeah.
So we say the ugly European?
No, I think we blame it on him being Americanized, Pat.
It's our fault. It's our fault.
He's been exposed to this culture way too long.
Can't blame Roy. It's us.
No, it's got to be us.
But I do want to point out something that I think is really cool that took place there in Charlotte at the tournament. And you might have heard about this. Did you hear about the Champions Plus ticket that was available to the patrons? Did I hear about this?
I did not.
No.
For the first time in major championship history, fans in possession of these tickets were entitled to 1 entree, snack, and non-alcoholic drink per visit to the concession stand.
Whoa.
So you paid nothing for concessions.
Okay. How do you come into possession of one of these tickets?
We had to purchase that ticket. The average price for a Champions Plus ticket was around $250 a day.
So you better be making some trips to the concession stand.
Now, Wednesday's practice round after taxes and fees cost $130, but it jumped to $253 once the tournament actually started on Thursday. And if you were there yesterday, it cost you $301. They have 11 on-course kitchens preparing the food, 200 cooks, 58 chefs, and over 1,000 staff members preparing an estimated 130,000 hamburgers, 90,000 hot dogs, and 200,000 spectators were expected to go through the turnstiles there at Quail Hollow.
That is really cool.
Man.
But it was watching the videos of you walking up to the kiosk. Now they had special kiosks just for beer and mixed drinks.
I was saying it's like a fast pass lane or whatever. If you have the champions.
But so basically, like if you wanted, like you went in there and you got your entree, your drink, non-alcoholic drink, and some chips or whatever, then basically once you left, you could turn around and go right back in and get whatever else you wanted to.
They got a pretty good selection here. I'm looking at the concessions that they offered this year at Quail Hollow. And in the morning, if you're out there on the course and you want a little breakfast, part of that would be a sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit, or you could get a chicken biscuit, glazed donuts, and fresh fruit. And then throughout the day, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, grilled chicken sandwiches with pickle slaw, smoked sausages, Beyond Burgers, ham and Gruyere sandwiches, and vegan Asian-inspired salads. And then a lot of other snacks to go with it.
So the
That's a
smart
pretty
thing to
good
do
deal.
is get a group and you pull the money together and one person buys it, right? And then just goes and gets food for everybody all day. That seems like the smart way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even though they probably have, I don't know, maybe they have ways to monitor that, but.
But it was so successful, and they kind of played off the fact that the prices in Augusta is so ridiculously low that they felt like that they could have this ticket. And
you build in the cost in the ticket where people don't feel like they feel like they're getting something for free.
Wait. So this included a ticket to enter the tournament?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying.
No, just concessions. You can't watch.
That's what I
They
was like.
blindfold you. They put you in the line. You get your food and you go back to the parking lot.
That's a lot of money for concessions. Like, okay.
No, the general feeling is that moving forward at big sporting events, this is the future.
It'll
like
just be
it.
included in the price of admission.
I like it. And you cut down on line time, wouldn't you think?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm like, this is a brilliant idea.
It's a really good idea.
Yeah. And basically I was reading an article how it was breaking down how they make their money. And honestly, that $250, which was the average for that Champions Plus ticket and the food, they still believe that they were, as the golf course, still making about $30 more off the ticket by offering the so-called free concessions.
Okay.
That look on 18 where they had the grandstands and that was such a good look.
So get ready, Bryant Denny and Jordan Hare, right around the corner. The Champions Plus ticket.
You
But
can
you'll
be a
have to-
champion.
but you can go to another area to get your beer, Conrad.
Good. As long as I can still get that.
But no need to sneak in your snacks. You know you're known for doing
No, that's for other things.
That's
Put them in your boots.
It's hotter than you know what out here. Why is that guy wearing
His boots look a little
cowboy
tight.
boots?
Yep.
Why is he wearing cowboy boots and really
Well, if you're a
baggy
homeowner
pants?
and you got problems around your house, APS can help you today at 205-951-9717. It'll be the best decision you will make to protect your home. APS, if you notice an issue, whether it's your foundation or you got doors that don't close tight or you got windows that just won't open up, APS will send a team out to your house. They really know their stuff. They'll inspect everything, explain the problem clearly, offer the solutions that are tailored for your home. No pressure, just honest advice. Call them today. Number's 205-951-9717 or go to their website, alabamaprofessional.com.
We'll continue a lot of your reaction. The phone lines and the text lines, we'll get to those as well. 205-834-9450. It's a Monday. It's Reaction Monday. We want to hear from you. 3-man front and Jocks 94.5.
Well, the SEC baseball tournament, a lot of fans will be in town this week. Welcome to Birmingham in the Magic City. Hoover, part of the Birmingham metropolitan area. We appreciate everybody going to be in town. You got Mizzou practicing right now. Actually, they're already wrapped up. Kentucky is on the diamond. They're at the Hoover Metropolitan Stadium practicing. Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Florida, and South Carolina, they will practice later today. Alabama was scheduled to practice at the Hoover Met. And Coach Vaughn, they decided that they were going to stay in Tuscaloosa.
I was about to say, why would you not just do that?
And practice there. So, and the fact that there's the potential of maybe some afternoon showers and whatnot. So,
well, at this point, how much practice do we really need?
So Alabama.
Hey, it makes perfect.
We'll decide to.
Playing a 70-game schedule feels like. They don't need to be super thorough, I wouldn't think. Just get some rips in. Little fungo. Yeah.
Coaches hate to hear you talking like that, Landrum.
We got to save arms, man. Got to make that run to Sunday.
And they do not actually practice at the Hoover Mat. They practice on the fields behind the Hoover Mat.
But replica dimensions. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. That was one of the vast improvements that they had at the Hoover Mat. It's right behind the Finley Center next door.
Well, speaking of the SEC baseball tournament, if you're headed to Hoover this week, stop by Big Whiskey's because they have great food of all kinds. They have patio dining outside or big screens in the bar to catch all of the action. Afternoon and late night happy hour, they have weekend brunch specials. Plus, the kitchen is open late, so visit before or after any of the games in the Stadium Choice Village off Highway 150 near the Hoover Met. Our friends at Big Whiskey. It's
Reaction Monday here on the show. We open up the phone lines and the text lines to you. Let's go to the phone lines first. And Mario wants to chime in on the Stallions. Hey, Mario, welcome in.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Doing great.
I just want to say I love you guys' show. You guys are extremely freaking funny. I dig the show. But just to kind of get you guys' thoughts on like the UFL and the Stallions, because me and my friend, we're like season ticket holders. We've done it for like 2 years now. But do you guys think it would be best to kind of like start the season maybe 2 weeks after the NFL ends? Because it seems like it's either advertisement, because a lot of people in the state don't know it, in the city don't know about the team. But like, do you think getting an early jump while football on people's mind to start the league up?
You know, Mario, that's a great question. I subscribe to the theory that I think they need to wait as long as possible before they play the season. And the reason why is because I think fans need at least a little bit of break between football to make us miss football, if that makes sense. Okay. Because rolling right into it out of the Super Bowl, there is a little bit of football fatigue. And then you've got basketball that is heating up. And we've seen how successful Alabama and Auburn's basketball programs have been the last couple of years, making it to the Final Four. I just think from a Birmingham standpoint, I think it would benefit the franchise and the league itself if they waited maybe a month and a half, and then get it going. And then I don't want to hear people talk about, well, it's hot. I don't want to go to Protective Stadium because it's, 95 degrees outside, whatever the case may be. Yeah. Well, I mean, you play it in the spring, and we had 2 Friday nights, or at least 2 games that was not very well attended because we were under severe thunderstorm and heavy winds and things of that nature. So for me, I would vote to move it back about a month or so and then get into the actual summer months for this to be able to be played.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, I knew that Mother's Day game was going to be like a no-go, and I mean, especially Sunday, Alabama. You know anything about our state here? We got to go praise first, so we go watch some football. So I figured that Sunday game was like a loss, but I just wanted to get you guys' take on that.
Hey Mario, before we let you go, I am curious. Do you like the Friday night game for the Stallions? Do you like that?
Honestly, it doesn't bother me. I mean, because I'm trying. Well, put it this way: like I'm a huge NFL fan. I like the Cowboys. I know how people feel about that. But anything that we've got going on that like I can go take my family to, stuff like that. I mean, just to help the city out, I'm all for it. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean? Because a lot of people complain about how we don't have things to do here, but then when we get stuff, you don't go to the stuff you don't attend. So, I mean, hey, Friday night games to me, whatever, I'll watch it. Doesn't really matter to me. It's football, you know what I mean? Give me a little something to do, when I get off work or whatever, check out the UFA or whatever.
Well, it's almost like, Mario, we clamor for this stuff and we get excited and everybody's on board. And then when it happens, we conveniently find other things to do, and we count on all of our brethren around the city to attend and do their part, but we don't want to do ours. The level of football, though, across the board, Mario, what do you think? Do you think the level of play, not just from the Stallions, but league-wide, is it down this year in your opinion?
It's not the best. It has been kind of, sketchy. I mean, you want to see a little bit more action. You know what I mean? But like I said, just trying to support the league, like you said, you hope things will, continue to progress or whatever. You know what I mean? I think, I don't know, maybe the defenses have gotten a little bit more better this year, and the offense has kind of took a step back from what I see. I mean, it's not always been a high-scoring league like that, but it does seem like the defense has been able to kind of stick with some of the more teams in the league that had these high-powered offenses, just, a couple of seasons ago. So,
Mario, we appreciate the phone call. You call anytime. Thanks for listening.
All right, thank you.
All right, good stuff. And when the USFL, if we remember, when that was relaunched in 2022, that we were still kind of in the shadows of COVID and a pandemic, in a time that we all were wishing for something to do and some sort of normalcy, and we got that. And not only did we get that, we had the dose of nostalgia, because we remember the Birmingham Stallions. Yep. And growing up here in this state and being around this market, you got it. And on top of that, they throw in a complement of Auburn and Alabama players and players from the SEC or locally UAB, Troy, that we all recognize. And some of that is faded. And I don't know how you get that back.
Well, I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on this, because I was just thinking about this. Do you think it hurts, specifically the Stallions here, for the last couple of years? I mean, I know Alabama, they made the playoff a couple of years ago, but you're not competing for a national championship in 5 years now, or 4 years. Auburn hasn't really been doing anything in the postseason. Do you think the fact that maybe Alabama and Auburn fans are a little checked out of football earlier than we've been accustomed to, does that kind of hurt? Because then by the time the Stallions come around, it's like, oh, I've already kind of checked out, because I was done with Auburn in November. I was done with Alabama in December, and I'm just kind of checked out of football.
I personally don't think so. I just think that the calendar, especially with these spring months, with so much going on for now. Mario is a season ticket holder. Mario was talking about taking his family. There's a lot of families that, especially on those Friday night games, after you've worked until 5 o'clock, you got to get home. And I'm just using me as an example. I have to go. I live in a suburb that's a good 20, 25 miles away from downtown Birmingham. And then I got to get home after work, and then I get my family, and then have to drive back downtown Birmingham. A lot of people will be like, you know what? I've had a long week.
Well, on top of that, you look at the radar and you go, man, this is hit or miss.
Yeah.
It might be miserable and sitting in a downpour. I don't want to go and sit. I don't want to sit anywhere.
But to that,
in the middle of a rainstorm.
If it's an Alabama and Auburn game, you will sit in the rainstorm. Like
some people will.
Like you will on a Friday night. I can't tell you how many people that I know on the high school scene.
Yeah, to go watch Johnny.
Like they will in the high school game, they'll be at the high school stadium until 10:30, 11 o'clock on a Friday night, and they're going to get up at 5 a.m. the next morning to go tailgate all day long, no matter what the weather's like at an Alabama Auburn game. I'm just starting to subscribe to the fact that I believe that you need a break from football, and you need to miss it. I mean, you need to go a month or two before you get back into it.
And look, I was active in sports, and I know Pat, Conrad, you guys, and Molly, y'all were active in the activities, but it blows me away with my buddies who have children, the number of activities that they have just in the course of just a random Saturday. Whether it's a birthday party, whether it's travel soccer, basketball, baseball, there's something every single weekend. And I think that's the case, especially with this generation coming up, where if you're not going 90-0 at all times, then you're being left behind. I think some of that plays into it. And some of the parents are just tapped out. And it's like, you know what? We can watch this game on Fox, or we can watch this game on ABC or on ESPN. We can order a pizza, and let's just let this night, this particular Friday night I'm talking about, this Friday night, let's just
take a breath,
have our time. Yeah. This is the only time all week, and then you couple in weather or anything else as an added excuse, and it's a valid excuse for somebody like me. I think that plays into it as well.
Well, there was a podcaster over the weekend. He said the following in regards to the Birmingham franchise and even Memphis.
It is worthless to have a team in Birmingham at this point. You've had multiple championships. You got a great coach, exciting players. That place should be packed. You have nothing else to do. Birmingham is a disappointment, and it should close, period. Memphis, I understand because of the connection to FedEx, but Memphis should also close too. Or pause. Be like, listen, we're going to pause you, and we will bring you back in 2 years.
All right. It's one man's opinion. Birmingham currently averaging 8,413 in attendance. Memphis, meanwhile, is averaging 4,563, barely ahead of Houston.
But no mention of Houston.
Mm-mm.
What's San Antonio drawing?
San Antonio, they've drawn 14-4, 9-8, and 9-2 at their so they've 33,555 divided by 3. What is that? 11,000 per game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're averaging. San Antonio, or obviously St. Louis, over 30,000 a game.
Yeah, but if you take St. Louis out of the equation, okay, they're great. They get fans there. Let's make them the shining example. But as far as the rest of the league, he's put. It seems like it's just this guy's got a deal with the South.
DC's averaging 13,000 a game. They're number 2 in the league in attendance, behind St. Louis.
In DC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see where the rub is. So this guy, just based on what he said, because he didn't go into any more detail, we should be putting what, 35, 40,000 people inside a protective stadium? That's not real.
That one clip he talks about, because Birmingham has been the best franchise in spring football.
No doubt.
And if you're only averaging 8,413 people to a game at the supposed air quotes best spring franchise, then there's a lot of questions, not only this market, but the whole league itself.
I think this is more of a UFL question than it is a question of Birmingham.
Yeah, well, just imagine, and this would never happen, but imagine at the NFL, the Chiefs, no one showed up to a Chiefs game, right? They've been the best team for the last 5 or 6 years, and no one shows up to the games. It wouldn't make sense.
Well, we had it with the Rays. They had postseason success, and how many fans did they draw to Tropicana to go and watch and celebrate that team?
Great point.
For a 3-man front on this reaction Monday, 1-800-239-WJOX. 1-800-239-WJOX Reaction Monday. 205-834-9450 on the Courtesy GMC text line. A reminder, each and every Tuesday, we're there. Join us, Social Taco, tomorrow in Homewood from 10 until 2.
Man, we have a lot to deal with in our day-to-day, but one thing we shouldn't have to deal with as a business owner, as a homeowner, and that is pests. That is bugs. That's why our friends at Stark Exterminators, family-owned for over 61 years, they are here to help. You can call them today for your free home or business pest inspection by simply calling 855-STARK now or going to starkexterminators.com. One of their friendly team members is going to come to your home like he did ours 3 years ago, inspect it thoroughly inside and out. He's going to address any existing issues that you have, like we did with ants in the bathroom. We have no issues with ants these days. Actually, when Liam left, we didn't have any ants after that day. But he did target some specific other potentially problematic areas inside the home, outside the home, and we've never been better. And don't forget, they offer great termite protection as well. It's Stark Exterminators. Give them a call today. Once I already told you that over 61 years, family owned and operated. That tells you something as well. Stark Exterminators, call today for the free home or business pest inspection by simply calling 855-STARK now or going to starkexterminators.com. And as always, tell them Landrum from Jocks 94.5 sent you.
So if you follow us on Twitter at the number 3Man Front, every single day we have a Twitter poll question that we like to get your input on. And so, Molly, we have decided this week we're going to have our own bracket challenge. Mm-hmm. And it has to do with football helmets.
Yeah, so we just released, I guess you could call it the first region, if we're talking March Madness terms. It's the Bear Bryant bracket. And it's Alabama against Arkansas, and then Kentucky against Texas A&M. Of course, the winner will move on to, I guess, what would that be? The Elite Eight?
Mm-hmm.
So we ask, do you like the Alabama helmet or the Arkansas helmet? And it's been kind of funny watching the voting because Alabama has just been winning in a landslide. For the first 30 minutes or so, I don't think Arkansas had a single vote.
Way to go, Conrad.
Not as good of a helmet.
But right now, Alabama is winning with 84%. And as for the Kentucky and Texas A&M helmet.
Now, the Kentucky is the which one? Which helmet?
It's the blue helmet, or the white helmet with the blue logo.
Okay.
It's a good-looking helmet.
But the Texas A&M helmet is winning. And that one's kind of gone back and forth.
So you mean Texas A&M is actually going to win something?
They might.
I voted for Texas A&M.
Well, right now it's only at 51.6, but they were just tied.
So this is the maroon A&M helmet, correct?
Yeah, with the block T and the A and the M accompanying. Arkansas helmet, my suggestion would be make the hog bigger. I feel like the hog it's a little high and it's a little small.
I would.
Yeah, you don't want to have a small hog.
No. You agree, Pat?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I do.
Let's make that thing more pronounced.
Yeah, the bigger the better.
Yeah, let's increase the font on that thing, and then let's talk. But that's a very unfair match.
All right, so this is the Bear Bryant bracket. Can you give us the other brackets that we'll be releasing in the corresponding days?
Yes, the other bracket is the Pat Dye bracket. We also have the Phil Fulmer bracket.
That's the B bracket.
And the Coach O bracket as well.
Coach O bracket.
You didn't just call it the Fat Phil bracket?
We wanted to use his real name.
We had to be respectful.
Obviously, I'm not the one that put it together because if it had been me, I would have actually probably used a term that you would have heard from Austin Powers.
I think Phil slimmed up a little bit.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I do.
Get in my belly. And we all know what his name was. All right, so the Pat Dye bracket.
Yeah.
The Pat Dye bracket. Who is in that? Obviously, Auburn is going to be in that bracket.
So you have Auburn up against Mississippi State, and then you have South Carolina up against Georgia. And it's the black South Carolina helmet.
Matte black. That's a good looking helmet.
That's a good one.
And then for the Phil Fulmer bracket, it's Tennessee against Vanderbilt.
It's not the smoky gray helmet, is it? It's the white?
It's the white.
Okay.
And then you have Florida against Oklahoma. And then last but not least, Coach O. You have LSU against Texas. Then Ole Miss versus Mizzou.
And I would assume you put the powder blue.
Of course.
Okay. Just making sure.
I will make an early, outside of Alabama and Auburn, which will garner a lot of votes because of our listeners, I will be shocked if the Ole Miss powder blue does not.
Do you think Ole Miss wins it? The best helmet in the SEC?
That would be my vote. I think they have the best helmet in the SEC. That helmet is very nice. The powder blue one specifically.
I eat because I'm unhappy, and I'm unhappy because I eat. That character.
I just like to think you're going looking up Austin Powers.
No, that was one of them from Fat B that I remember.
What were the
pretty
names
well.
of the twins?
I don't remember the names of the twins. Apparently, you two do. What's just side note? Mike Myers, how did he fall out in Hollywood?
Maybe he was Canadian. I don't know.
Wait, I guess I don't see him in movies anymore, really.
No, he was in all of that. He was in a lot of stuff.
Didn't I hear that they're talking about making another Austin Powers? Did I not hear
They're
that?
making another Shrek with him and Eddie Murphy and all that. He's funny.
They're very talented.
The Austin Powers movies are great. Have you seen those, Molly?
Yes. I know. Aren't there a bunch of them?
There's 3 of them.
Yeah.
I know I've seen them, but I couldn't tell you which ones I've seen. Like, I've seen parts of each of them, but I've never sat and watched a full one through.
Okay. I'd have to make an appearance on a Friday poll question there.
Yeah. Good suggestion.
So Kentucky and Texas A&M, man, this is fun watching this one. The Kentucky white helmet is barely ahead of the Texas A&M maroon helmet.
I'm not a fan of the Kentucky blue helmet.
See, I like the blue more than the white, personally.
I like the Texas A&M white one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a good one.
Gray face mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's not bad.
If I'm not mistaken, I think was that not the helmet that they wore when they beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa?
With Johnny Manziel, yeah.
May have been.
That sounds right.
But you can go vote at the 3-Man Front Twitter page. And so each day we will have votes on 4 helmets in these certain brackets, and then we will crown a winner in the next week or so.
You think it's going to come down to Auburn and Alabama?
I don't know how the bracket is set up. They might have to. They might be in.
They might have to play
might not
in
even
the
happen.
in the semis.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be tough. 800-239-WJOX. We will get to your phone calls and your texts as we continue here on this Reaction Monday 3-Man Front and Jocks 94.5.
A reminder, you can go vote on the best helmet in the Bear Bryant bracket. Alabama's taking on Arkansas. Kentucky's white helmet taking on Texas A&M's maroon helmet. Go vote at the three-man front. I know this weekend we had some serious storm damage here across central Alabama, and if you have not taken Abide Roofing up yet on the free roof inspection, you need to do it today. Do not wait any longer. 205-922-7134 or go to abideroof.com, because many of you are going to realize the next storm that you're going to have some damage and you're going to have some leaking in the attic, which ultimately can get into your house and to your sheetrock and cause problems in the main dwelling portion of your house. So Abide Roofing is offering that free roof inspection right now. No strings attached, no pressure. They just want to give you an honest look at what's going on up there and give you some options. And trust me, folks, I'm speaking from experience. A few years back, Travis Lloyd and the Abide Roofing team, they took care of me, got me a brand new roof. And even when my insurance company was being, let's just say, difficult, Travis was right there walking me through the whole entire process on my roof with my insurance adjuster. And then the Abide Roofing team just did an incredible job. I 100% trust these guys. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. They're the real deal. Call them today. The number 205-922-7134, Abide Roofing.
We'll get to your phone calls. Reaction Monday. Let's go to our buddy Don. Don, welcome in.
Hey, guys. How's everybody's weekend?
Hey, we're good. How are you?
Okay, got a question for everybody. On the Stallions game, did you think Coach Holtz messed up by going for one when he went ahead by by 5?
In hindsight, it's easy to say yes.
Are you talking about going for the field goal as opposed to going for the first down?
No, he's talking about later.
No, when they scored a touchdown with about 4 or 5 minutes to go, that put them up by 5, and then they went for 1 instead of going for 2 to make it 7.
I was actually thinking about earlier.
Yeah.
When
he had 4th and 2.
Yes.
And they went up 9-0 as opposed to trying to
And then they did it again later in the game.
Yeah.
So it was twice that they had already done it.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, guys, you're not going to win with 5 turnovers and everything. But they played hard and got a big game this Saturday, and I hope we can get a better crowd. I heard what you said about the podcast, but I think that guy needs to look at other teams like Houston, Arlington, and Memphis. It's not just us, Pat. Pat is the whole entire league, except for St. Louis.
No, I agree 100%. I was shocked, like you wouldn't believe, when they announced Memphis was going to continue to have a franchise. It was, listen, they didn't draw a lot of people in the Alliance of American Football. I don't know why they keep putting teams in Memphis.
Nicole.
Hey.
Yeah, sorry guys, I'm doing a DoorDash again.
That's all right. You got to work.
Okay, that's right. But I will see you guys tomorrow, fellas.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Don. Appreciate the phone call.
Yeah, wherever he was delivering, they were busy. A lot going on.
He surely takes the app wherever he goes.
They're getting ready for their tailgate tomorrow in Hoover. Getting a head start.
And listen, while we're talking about this, before the merger, the XFL drew crap attendance in Las Vegas and in Tampa. Seattle was decent. I was a little bit surprised that they didn't put a team back in Seattle. The Seattle Sea Dragons, I think that was their name. They drew, 15,000 or so. That, to me, that made sense. But Memphis did not draw well in the Alliance of American Football for the 7-8 weeks that we had it before it went away. Tampa, I think they were the Vipers in the XFL.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah.
And, they didn't draw much at Raymond James Stadium. And so that franchise went away. It was a lot different because in the USFL, when it first came back, you had all the teams based here in Birmingham. New Orleans had a team.
Yeah, Pittsburgh had a team.
Philadelphia had a team.
But I think we also remember how bad the attendance was for typically every game that wasn't a Stallions game.
Correct.
Yeah, because Molly, you were working for the USFL, were you not?
Yeah,
that
very
summer?
first season.
Yeah, that first season. And most of your games, I think you told me, were at Legion Field.
All of them were.
All of them were.
Yeah, all the ones that I worked. Because that week I think something was going on at Protective, so they had to move them all to Legion. And there was, a decent crowd at the Stallions game, but when the Stallions weren't playing, there was no one there.
Like literally.
Literally no one.
Like no one. Yeah. So we'll see if the TV folks, they just signed that new collective bargaining agreement that will last for next season, but maybe that doesn't hold true. And
is this just a case, not Birmingham specific, but the league overall, just the new wearing off, and people finding other things to gravitate to? Maybe so.
Maybe so. Maybe we take it a little bit for granted here in Birmingham, right? They're so good. It's just like, well, okay, they're just gonna, you get tired. Not
like
that you
that
get tired
Bama
of
fatigue,
winning, but
that Bama fatigue.
Well, for some people, not for me.
Yeah. 800-239-WJOX. Robert's in Greenville. Hey, Robert.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, I was hoping y'all would talk about SEC softball. Had a great weekend. I believe we have 9 teams in the super regionals. And of course, you got 3 head-to-head meetings. But Alabama came through this weekend with strong pitching. Their offense got some big hits when they really needed it. And Virginia Tech had a lot of opportunities. They stranded a lot of runners on base. And now they go to Norman to place Oklahoma. And I know Oklahoma's gotten better, but Alabama took 2 or 3 from them a month ago. I think if Alabama can win game 1, I don't know when it's Thursday or Friday, but I think
Friday.
Alabama would have it.
It's Friday. It's Friday at 5 o'clock.
Good, because I was hoping it would be Friday. Give these ladies one extra day of rest, but I'm hoping Alabama can win game 1 and put some real pressure on Oklahoma. I mean, that California team, Oklahoma beat twice. I mean, they're a good program, but, they travel back and forth to the East Coast and back, and they just didn't look, they look tired. That won't be the case with Alabama. But as far as what's going to happen with that game, with the rest of the games, I mean, Ole Miss, Arkansas, you're going to have somebody with a first going to Women's College World Series first time. Georgia, Florida is a great rivalry, and UCLA going to South Carolina. That's a very intriguing matchup, old versus new. But I still think Oklahoma's a team to beat, but I think there are a lot more teams that have a chance. And as far as the Troy baseball is concerned, I know they've lost 4 in a row, but they are still in the top 20. They've got the Sun Belt tournament. Is the Sun Belt a double elimination tournament, or is it single elimination?
I do not have the Sun Belt bracket in front of me. I apologize. I do not know that answer.
I think it's still double elimination. I'm going to be interesting to see how
it is, Robert. I just looked it up.
Double elimination. Okay. It's going to be interesting to see how this SEC single elimination goes. I don't know if the fans that you like LSU, Mississippi State, you travel to stay for the week. I don't think those fans are going to like it very much. But I think just disappointed in Alabama baseball. I mean, I thought the pitching depth would be better. It seemed like it's the same old thing. They just don't have the pitching depth. I know this is only Vaughn's second year, but I didn't see any of the Florida games. But just looking at the scores, I mean, they were giving up a bunch of runs this weekend, and a good weekend for the Braves. Pick up a game on the Mets over the weekend when the Mets losing 2 of 3, and Atlanta beating Boston 2 of 3, and I'm hearing Strider starting Tuesday. Is it true that Acuna is coming to Atlanta Friday?
What's the word? Yeah, that is the word.
Okay, well, the outfield, it's going to be interesting to see what they do about Marcell Osuna's spot in the lineup.
Yeah, I think as far as him hitting, he's going to be there. Who's going to be playing in the outfield? Thank you, Robert. We appreciate the phone call. What does that do for maybe a guy like Eli White or, oh goodness, the day-to-day for a Alex Verdugo? Who knows? All of these questions will be answered in time when Ronald Acuna hopefully makes his triumphant return to the Braves lineup. Missed you, kid.
Braves off tonight. They'll begin a 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Another little scheduling quirk that I hate about Major League Baseball. You just played them. You can't spread that out another week or two. It's just
especially when the Nationals just beat up on the Orioles. Goodness gracious, Orioles, what is going on there? You're firing a manager.
Bad stuff.
The magic is gone. Is your dad okay? Big O's fan?
It is 12 noon. Welcome back in. This is Three-Man Front, Jocks 94.5. Conrad, Molly, Landrum, I'm Pat with you until 2 o'clock. We'll take you up to the Paul Feinbaum Show. SEC Baseball Tournament will get underway tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m., as the Missouri Tigers will make their first appearance at the Hoover Metropolitan Stadium, taking on the Alabama Crimson Tide. That is a 9:30 first pitch.
My recommendation to Alabama fans, if you don't want to just load up on coffee before you get to that 9:30 a.m. first pitch at the Met, get by your local Piggly Wiggly and pick up some great Mystic beverage, and you can do it with the Lift Blend that's got the green coffee bean extract. Crush one of those, maybe two of those before you go in, and you are going to be ready. You're going to be dialed in. You may even keep the book during the game. Not only do they have that at Mystic Beverage, but they've also got some interesting blends that are quite delightful as well, like the Nirvanic. It's a smooth, calming experience, perfect for unwinding. The High Hills Delta 9 that got me through some family time during the storm a few months ago when my family had to shelter in place. You got the 5 milligram, the 15 milligram available in those as well. You can go with the Broadway, the broad spectrum CBD with the Delta 9 for the comprehensive wellness boost. It's a great alternative to alcohol, and it's available in delicious flavors like the blood orange, the southern berry, the mango, which is my new go-to, and the watermelon. Available locally. Find it at your nearest Piggly Wiggly. Great company, great people. It's a great product. MysticBeverage.com.
Speaking of the SEC baseball tournament, where do things currently stand in regards to the NCAA baseball tournament? As of this moment, according to D1Baseball.com, they currently project 13 Southeastern Conference schools to make the NCAA tournament. There would be 6 teams that would host regionals: Texas, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Georgia, LSU, Auburn. Now, in the Auburn bracket would be Auburn, Duke, Troy, and Long Island.
Okay.
That's who would be in the Auburn region. According to D1 Baseball, there would be 4 SEC teams that would be considered 2 seeds: Tennessee, Ole Miss, Florida, Alabama. Alabama would be playing in the Clemson region, which includes UConn and Bryant College.
No problem.
No problem.
No problem.
Okay, gotcha. There would be 3 SEC teams that would be 3 seeds: Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Oklahoma. Basically, if you look at the SEC standings or you look at the SEC baseball tournament, the top 13 seeds in the conference would make it to the NCAA tournament, according to D1 Baseball. The team at number 14, that would not make it, would be the preseason number 1 team in every poll in baseball, and that was the Texas A&M Fighting Aggies.
It's just wild to think that they are now in a grouping with a Missouri team that didn't win a single SEC game until a week ago, a Mississippi State a South Carolina program that's probably going to fire their coach, and then Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm. And hats off to Mississippi State. I mean, Mississippi State has played very well. You had 2 programs that's really come on as of late, and that was Florida, played very well, and then you had Mississippi State that was sitting there just a few weeks ago. They were like barely ahead of South Carolina and Missouri in the SEC standings, and they have put together a nice run here. But according to D1 Baseball, they would be a 3 seed in the NCAA baseball.
What's the latest on Mississippi State as far as coaching wise?
Still here, the former Mississippi State player, assistant coach at the University of Georgia. Name escapes
hot
me.
name, yeah.
Yep, right now.
Not Johnson, who's the head coach.
No, it's an assistant coach that played at Mississippi State.
Yeah, he's a younger guy. Yeah. It's just wild that Florida, going back to them for a second. So they finished 15-15 in SEC play. They were 1-11 to start off. So they went 14-4 over their last 6 series, won all of them to get to where they are right now. Just absolutely incredible.
I'm seeing where there's a little bit of traction. Do they hire their interim coach, Justin Tucker, who took over for Lamonis? But as my guess would be that, like Pat said, whether it's the guy that's the assistant that played there from Georgia, that they would go outside from what they currently had.
Yeah, and as we've talked about, I mean, if you're Mississippi State, you're gonna have a lot of candidates. That's a great job.
Yeah, and I read about a week ago that they are absolutely willing, if it's the right name, they're all about paying top 10 money in the country when it comes to baseball. They're all about that, but it needs to be makes sense. I mean, they're not going to give, if it's the interim guy now, they're not going to turn around and give him the money.
So what would that look like? Like $2 million a year, something like that.
Yeah,
that's probably the range I was thinking.
about that ballpark. So we'll see what Mississippi State does. But the tournament in Hoover gets underway tomorrow morning. Also want to point out a very fun bracket that we have got on our three-man front Twitter page, Molly, and it has to do with the best-looking helmets in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, so this is the first of 4 brackets that we'll post within the next couple of days. And first up, we have the Bear Bryant bracket. So we have Alabama against Arkansas, and then the white Kentucky helmet against Texas A&M. So we ask you to vote in the responses, and right now Alabama is beating Arkansas with 80.6%. And it's been really close, really all day so far between Kentucky and A&M. But right now Kentucky is in the lead with 53.9, Texas A&M with 46.1.
And this is the white Kentucky helmet taking on the maroon Texas A&M helmet.
And I think if you went from white Kentucky helmet to blue Kentucky helmet, and then you flip the A&M
to the white one, just
Think
saying.
it would change the results?
Well, maybe. But
what if we went old school Alabama white helmet? Last time they wore it was Bill Curry. Would you be opposed, Conrad, if Alabama ever brought back the white helmet for road games?
I mean, it's fine. I guess, again, I know people are going to hate when I say this. If we're going to do something like that, that's where I say, hey, you just take your chance and you say, we're going to try a new design. Not the houndstooth, but, black helmet or something.
Oh,
black helmet.
Black helmet. You want to keep numbers on helmet, or are you going script A?
No, I want to keep the numbers.
Okay.
But you would have a black helmet, but with the white numbers.
Yeah, something like that. I think that would be sharp if you could do some sort of a black uniform for Alabama, but I know like a blackout type thing, but I know there's people screaming at the radios.
Yes,
right now
for the record, Conrad Van Order, a season ticket holder and a proud graduate of the University of Alabama, he said that.
No,
I think the helmet they have is perfectly fine, Pat.
Yes,
it's a helmet of tradition. It represents a lot of great things.
Mm-hmm. When Nebraska went black helmet one time, right?
Well, they did black uniforms, but it was the white helmet with the black in.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
but it was not a black helmet.
That was a tribute to the black shirts?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Was
the
there
one-off Alabama helmet would be fine if you did it every now and then. I don't want the whole Alabama white helmet road games.
No, not permanent.
All road games. No.
They have done a black helmet before, but I think it was like 10 years ago when they did it.
I was just curious if there was an outcry, because Nebraska has one of the classic college football uniforms.
Yeah.
And if you were to go to a black helmet, I would think that some Nebraska purists would be upset, just like Alabama purists would not like.
It's really tough to screw up a black helmet.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. I feel like that's the easiest path because, you're going to have the people that, regardless of what it is, would hate it. But I feel like that would be the easiest
But you're not
path.
staying in the Alabama color scheme.
No, I'm not.
By going black.
It's a new era, Pat.
But
we got ice cream at practice. We're wearing black helmets.
I'm not comparing the two programs, but some of these others, they're not a representative color anywhere. It's just like black. You can do it. I'm trying to compare it to something you would wear in everyday life.
It's intimidating.
Is that what it is? It gets the young people fired up. I know that. Like you.
That's right. Us young whippersnappers.
No, but Duke, they wear the black uniform.
Yeah, and those
It's not
look
part of
sharp
theirs.
with the blue, with like that electric.
Miami
blue
wears
kinda
black. That's not a part of their scheme, is it?
No, but it looks good.
It looks good. Like I said, it's hard to screw that up.
It is, and like you were saying, if you were to ever do this, I would want it to be one game, not every road game or every home game. We're going to do this season, just one game. That's it. You can have the regular uniform, the other 11. Just one game.
Just one game?
Just one game.
Do you set it aside for a weekend? Like a particular matchup, opponent?
See, I'm not a big fan of the whole, and going back, years and years. But when Georgia, back with Matthew Stafford, they did the blackout and it was a big deal. And, we're going to crush Alabama. Like, I don't like using it as a motivational tool, right? So even if you wanted to do it against, do it in your season opener.
No,
right?
do it when Oklahoma makes the return trip.
I like that.
Save it for Texas in a few years.
So what if Kalen DeBoer decides, you know what, I'm not going to go that bold.
Okay.
But I want to change the face mask to white as opposed to the gray. Would you be okay with that? Because Auburn obviously has done that
With
in
the
most
orange
recent
and
time
stuff.
with the white helmet, the white mask, or going to the orange face mask. Would you be okay with the white face mask?
Are you going white at home, or are you going white on the road with still crimson helmet?
No, if you keep, what if you went white helmet on the road with a white face mask?
No.
But you would be okay with a black helmet.
Yes, absolutely.
That makes no sense.
Absolutely. I like what I like. Hey, y'all see how I dress every day. I'm the last person anyone needs to go to for fashion advice or what looks good or what a uniform design would be.
Well, that is true.
I'll be the first to
Do you have
acknowledge
a Johnny Cash cover band that comes and opens up, or
Sure.
potentially AC/DC?
I mean, they do play Thunderstruck coming out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like where your head's at, Landrum.
What if Alabama had some type of like pachyderm type skin on the helmet?
Yeah, no, I don't want
Kind of like Florida did with the Florida Gators uniforms a couple years ago. Remember, it looked like the scales of alligator.
Or could the stripe down the middle just be a tusk?
Well, see, I still personally want the tusk to come out of the face mask and be an actual prop on
Right.
the field, but I don't think that one's
Or the tusk would look like Buckhorn High School's helmets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? On each side.
Oh, almost like the old Rams where
Kinda
they
like
had the
that.
horns. Yeah.
And then have a little elephant tail right there on the back of the pants to complete it.
People are so
Now you're
mad
being
at us right
silly.
now.
Now you're just being silly. You've taken this really good idea and now you're making a mockery.
Yeah, we were
of it.
fine with the black helmets.
Yeah.
The tail,
Yes.
that's where we went too far.
The tail's where we draw the line. That looks stupid.
All right, so you can go vote at the 3-Man Front Twitter site at the number 3-Man Front on Twitter. We want to hear from you in regards to the Bear Bryant bracket. 4 teams. We'll have 4 more teams tomorrow, 4 more teams on Wednesday, 4 more teams on Thursday. And then we'll obviously head on to the next round next week.
Early votes coming in on the text line about this helmet change. Don't do it.
About the black helmet?
Yeah.
That Conrad is endorsing for
Guessing I
Alabama?
have a lot of support on the text line, right?
My advice to Coach DeBoer would be, win some championships before you launch this, because people are not ready for it.
Well, no,
Conrad is.
and that's what I should have said is after this year, when Alabama goes 17-0 and wins the national championship, then you start to implement these ideas. So this is coming 2026 to a Bryant Denny Stadium near you.
All right, when we come back, we're going to read your text. We're going to take your phone calls. 1-800-239-WJOX. The text line brought to you by Courtesy GMC, 205-834-9450. We will get to your text messages momentarily on the Courtesy GMC text line. And speaking of Courtesy GMC, went by there over the weekend, and their inventory always just amazes me. The brand new Sierra 1500s that they have in stock, or the Canyon trucks, the redesigned. Not to mention the Acadias, the AT4s, the Denali's when it comes to whether it's the Acadia or the Terrain, or of course, the wonderful Yukons and the Yukon XLs. The inventory is deep, 9 acres of inventory for you to peruse. Head on out to Trussville, right off of exit 32, I-459 in Trussville. You can't miss it. Courtesy is going to beat any deal on any new GMC. They're the lowest price dealer in the state of Alabama. You don't need to go anywhere for a brand new GMC except to Trussville and Courtesy GMC. Take the next step by requesting a quote or scheduling a test drive today by going to courtesybirmingham.com. Go see them, I-459 in Trussville, exit 32, or check out their inventory at courtesybirmingham.com.
All right, so bear with me for a second because I was getting fired up here in the break. Just imagine.
Why? Why are you getting fired up?
Just imagine. Close your eyes. Picture this in your head.
I'm not closing my eyes.
You're in Bryant-Denny Stadium.
I'll close my eyes.
The team's about to run it on the field.
I love
You
this
hear
game.
thunderstruck over the PA system.
Oh, yeah.
The music cuts out.
Mm-hmm.
The fog's rolling out of the tunnel. And then you hear Back in Black blasting, and Alabama runs onto the field in a black helmet and a black uniform.
I thought you were about to say Randy Owen comes on stage.
No. I'm sorry. I just, in my own fantasy world, I got fired up thinking about
I thought we were transitioning into Dixieland.
No. Well, you could do that afterwards. People always love, you can never go wrong. You can never play that too many times. I'm just saying, I think that would be cool personally. You already have the AC/DC connection in place, which you brought up.
You got your Nerf suit to put on because I'm reading some of these texts and they are.
I know people don't like when I talk about the uniforms.
Yeah, the rocks are a throwing right now. We take you to the text line 205-834-9450. That's the best way to interact with us. Drake, one of our great listeners, also a big Florida fan, but he chimes in. He says, "Congratulations to my little cousin. She pitched a good game to beat Texas A&M in college softball." Congratulations, Drake's cousin. Cannot pull up her name right now. Maybe Conrad can, so she can be properly recognized. We'll continue. Brandon asks, how about LSU losing to Southeastern twice? It's definitely something.
South Carolina, I think is what he meant.
Yeah. Did he? If Stanford knocks off Oregon, would Liberty host? I've checked out Liberty's softball facility, and it should surprise no one who has familiarized themselves with Liberty's sports facilities or been there like I have to their campus. Everything is brand new and immaculate. Their softball complex is very, very nice.
Now, so what was the question about hosting? What was the question?
If Stanford knocks off Oregon, would Liberty host?
Now, Oregon won.
Okay, Oregon won.
Yeah, so Liberty is going to Eugene.
Didn't they win with was that a walk-off? Yeah, it was a walk-off.
So Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Eugene for Liberty. Just think, Liberty, if you're a Liberty Flames softball fan, that is going to be a 10 o'clock Eastern first pitch between Oregon and Liberty.
I'm going to clean this one up as much as I can. The move to switch away from the UFL game to the NBA pregame show on ABC, typical corporate over stupid NBA to try to get their ratings boosted because NBA has fallen off bad. Birmingham has more to do around the city now than ever, going back to the guy on the podcast, so there's nothing else to do. Thank you for the text.
I also do think with the NBA thing, they're paying Stephen A. Smith, $20-30 million to be their NBA guy, and they're going to get all the money they can out of him. And if that means they're going to cut off whatever you're watching to put on the NBA pregame show, they're probably going to do that so that they're getting their money's worth.
I have no issue with them moving the UFL game if you were getting ready for tip-off of that NBA game. But you had 30 minutes, and you had 2 minutes to go Come on.
Will chimes in and says, I say again, UFL should play on Tuesday and Wednesday nights. Sorry, Maction. Is he talking about during the college football season? Or Tuesday and Wednesday nights here?
Well, first off,
I love the announcement that when we got it before the season started that we were getting Friday night games. That has not worked.
If it's not a spring league, you're not going to have a television partner. So,
good point.
Jimmy says, I want to talk about music. What are you guys listening to? What are your favorites?
Back in Black by AC/DC.
Chris Tomlin, Red Rocks. And who was the president's wife? KCT.
Kim Cash Tate.
Yeah, Kim Cash Tate.
KCT.
Look her up. KCT. It made no sense that the Stallions didn't go for 2. Bill. Thank you, Bill.
Is that Bill Clark?
No. No, it's not. Reading the number. It's not. Definitely not Bill Clark. It is Bill, though.
He could have a burner. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As previously discussed, I think a big issue with the UFL is that the teams aren't local. If these teams were based in their respective cities and doing more local promotion and involvement, you would have more community buy-in. I think that is true to some degree. Now, is that saying if the Stallions were here, you would get 30,000 a game? No, I don't believe that. But yeah, I think it would certainly help. And they've done more marketing and promotion this year, but it's still not on the level with so many competing interests, whether it's on your phone, whether it's on your TV, community events around town, Johnny and Susie and their activities. You have to stay present in the minds of your consumer.
So what about going back to what you brought up from the PGA Championship? What if in the UFL you created some sort of ticket package where instead of a $10 ticket, maybe it's a $25 ticket, and that way you're able to include the concessions into the. Just an idea, because I mean we were talking about how great of an idea that was for golf.
At this point, I think they should try anything. Now, we were at last year's Battlehawks game against the Stallions, the 4 of us, and we were very surprised because there were about 15,000 people in the building, and it seemed like a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the crowd excitement, just it being loud, things of that nature. So I'm just going to go around the room. What do you think is a legitimate target number, let's say, for next year's team? What should be the target for attendance? Like where they should, honestly, the bullseye in regards to attendance. They're averaging not even 9,000 this year.
No, I think 15,000 is a solid number. That should be what you're striving to get. But anything in between, well, not anything in between. I think 11 to 15,000, that would be a comfortable number if you could average that.
I was thinking 12.
Yep, I was going to go 12.
I agree with Landrum. I think 15 is a really good, solid.
That'd be great.
Again, take what St. Louis has done to draw, and that's awesome, and that's wonderful, but that cannot be what we're comparing these other franchises to.
Yeah,
just can't.
Yeah, just keep in mind, the city of St. Louis has had 2 NFL franchises. They want another one. You know, all these other markets, Memphis doesn't, I mean, they would love an NFL team, but they're not getting one. Birmingham, not going to get one. San Antonio would like one, but they're not drawing. It's just it's a whole different animal in St. Louis. I mean, you've had the domes sit there empty for a number of years, and now they've got a tenant. And I will say this, I mean, when we saw the Battlehawks and Stallions here in town, we saw a ton of Battlehawk fans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they traveled.
That had made the trip. And listen, I've seen the Horsemen. They've made that trip up I-22 to Memphis.
Well, and I remember talking to some of the Battlehawks fans, and it was also just like they were just UFL fans, right? And they were, we wanted to come see the stadium. We wanted to see, Birmingham's been the champion. Like we just kind of wanted to get a taste of what it's like here for y'all. And like they love the Battlehawks, but they just seem to love spring football in general.
This one rolls in. By the time people in Alabama start watching high school football in August and college and the NFL, then you have the fourth best product in line. People are footballed out. But that goes back to Pat. Give it a little bit of breathing room after the Super Bowl. And then when people have, I don't know when you would start it, but you start having people that miss having organized football to watch. They've tried it both ways. Somebody chiming in, St. Louis has a dome. Weather is a valid excuse. Weather's a valid excuse for me. I'm definitely a fair weather fan in that regard. I do not want to go and there's just I'm at the point there was a point in my life where yes, I would sit and I would brave it and I would enjoy it and have a good time. I'm not there. Just not.
No, and I think most people would agree with that.
If Birmingham had an NFL team, I would go. I don't care about the UFL. Thank you. Why don't you guys just admit no one cares about the UFL? I don't agree with that. We have a lot of people that care about the UFL.
I'll say we have a lot of people that chime in on this show
We
regularly.
talk to them daily.
That care a lot about the UFL and the Stallions.
This one rolls in. Best helmet for Kentucky is the chrome and blue. Okay.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Why didn't you suggest Alabama going chrome helmet?
Because I don't want that. I want black. With the ivory tusks out the front.
Yes.
Man, Alabama's dropped below 80% now against Arkansas in the helmet bracket.
See?
Ty Richardson probably got a hold of that thing, put it on some message board, and here we go.
Texas A&M's got to fire Michael Early, says this listener.
I assume that's the softball coach. Or is that the baseball coach?
Not baseball coach.
Baseball coach. Either one.
Jamie says, heck no. I think he's talking about your helmet idea.
I doubt he's probably talking about something else.
Well, Vicky says, Bama's helmet is perfect. Conrad, exclamation point. But my favorite pro helmet is the Patriot helmet from the 70s. Minuteman hiking the ball. Pat the Patriot. That's a great one.
It's a good helmet. Mm-hmm. Don't you have that one? Doesn't one of you have that, Landrum?
Mike in Shreveport says, what % chance did Arkansas or anyone have against Bama? Come on, guys. Make it a little bit unbiased. It is a really fun conversation to talk helmets, though. Hey, man, this is just the way it all came out.
It's the Bear Bryant bracket. Three of the...
yeah, it's history.
Well, no.
bracket.
Okay.
There's a reason that they're there.
Yeah. All right. In the Bear Bryant bracket, you've got Alabama. Goes without saying. He was born in Arkansas, so that's why Alabama's against Arkansas. He coached at Kentucky. The only SEC championship Kentucky has in football came from Bear Bryant, and then he coached at Texas A&M.
Yep.
That's why it's the Bear Bryant bracket. Yeah.
And let's be honest, it's not. You could have put them up against Kentucky or Texas. They were going to win because of our listeners.
Jerry from Hayden says again, listen carefully, Conrad. Do not mess with the uniforms. Not no, but heck no. There you go.
Just give it a chance, guys.
This one rolls in. I disagree with Pat about starting the UFL season later. People around here by April are into Little League baseball, fishing, turkey hunting, going to the lake, etc. Yard work. I just added that one. Add college basketball now with Bama, Auburn, UAB doing well. Also at Easter weekend, Mother's Day weekend, and graduation. Start the UFL in late February. Okay. As someone who has purchased several powder blue Alabama gear in recent years, I think we should take it away from Old Miss. They do not deserve to own the powder blue. It also looks really good with crimson. Yeah, Nick Saban pulls it off.
Well, Conrad's got a quarter zip powder blue.
He does.
Yeah, it's great.
Jonathan says, I love everything about Alabama and their uniform. I don't want to see any changes, Conrad, you stupid idiot. I added that.
I'm sure that's what they were actually thinking.
We will continue with your text messages, your phone calls. It's Reaction Monday. This is Jocks 94.5.
12:36. We continue Reaction Monday here on Three Man Front. We'll get back to your text on the text line 205-834-9450. Don't miss the Russell Marine Smith Lake Open House. It's running today through the 24th, and that would be Saturday. Check out the larger, new and improved showroom, expanded lineup of boat brands. You can view boats from Sea Ray, Key West, Sportsman, Nautique, Godfrey pontoon boats, Creval, and more. And you get special pricing on all inventory and 20% off in the pro shop. You register to win great prizes at Russell Marine Smith Lake. The open house going on now through Saturday, May the 24th. Get all the details at russellmarine.net on the events page, and you can follow them on Facebook.
Text line is open, 205-834-9450. A lot of topics on the board, whether it is Conrad's idea of Alabama having a black helmet or helmet bracket that you can go vote on the number 3 Man Front Twitter page. SEC baseball tournament begins tomorrow morning at the Hoover Metropolitan Stadium. That is a 9:30 first pitch as Alabama will take on the Missouri Tigers. And according to D1 Baseball right now, Auburn, they would be hosting a regional down on the plains. Meanwhile, Alabama would be heading to Clemson, South Carolina. It's interesting because Alabama, according to D1 Baseball, until they lost 2 out of 3 to Florida, they were going to be hosting. So that very thin razor line in regards to hosting and not hosting. So we'll see what happens in Hoover. Let's get back to the text line in which many of you are talking about what a brilliant scholar Conrad Van Order is.
Yes. And Don has chimed in now on the text line, and hopefully he got his order delivered. But he said, hey, guys, it's Don. Please tell Conrad no way Bama gets 17-0, 9-3 at best.
I love that he thinks I'm serious when I say that. Don't worry, Don. We're only going to go 11-1, not 17-0. I guess that would mean 16-1 because we're still going to win the national championship.
Michael chimes in and says, now we go to Drika Ray for this traffic update. Multiple car pileups on 280 and I-20 after the Alabama uniform changes. That's pretty funny. Thanks for listening, Michael. That is not happening. Hopefully it doesn't happen if you're out there and wondering if there's an actual. Well, I can assure you that on 280 there's something going on somewhere.
Yeah, there always is.
Right. It says you get a different color stripe. That's it. Roll Tide.
I mean, if we need to take baby steps, that's fine.
Fat Joe says, Conrad, are you going with black pants too? I think that would be pretty cool, and I like that scenario that you just described. You and Fat Joe.
Thank you, Fat Joe.
You've got a member.
Yes. Yeah, you got to do the full uniform black.
Ooh.
I'd even be open to a black and red color scheme if you could. That would be a little tricky though, but it could look cool.
How about this, man? Chat GPT just came up with a version, and our listeners sent it in. That looks very Florida State-ish.
Oh, no.
You see it?
Now I'm looking.
You could use that at Florida State, maybe Pinson Valley. It's gold on a crimson helmet.
Oh,
Matte
yeah.
Crimson.
Ugh. No.
It's tough.
Not doing that
That's
one.
really tough.
No.
I'm going to have to come back to this one. There's a lot there. Viewing an image, and this is the Houndstooth, Alabama. Oh, that's terrible. I wouldn't even want that in my helmet room. That's bad. But thank you for sending it in. Not a huge fan of Bama's helmets. They're just a crimson version of Georgia Southern. Wow. That stings.
Sweet. Everyone can be mad at them now, not me.
That stings.
It's a good helmet.
Or the high school from Remember the Titans. They're in Virginia. Sunshine.
It's a nice, clean, simple look. There's nothing wrong with that.
Gold uniform. Gold uniform for Bama, and everyone wears the number 18. Carson and T-Town. All white is the only viable alternative. Carson, do you go gray face mask on the white helmet, or do you go white on the white helmet?
And I agree that would look good. I'm just trying to think outside the box.
What about the Crimson Chrome helmet? Conrad says
No.
one of our listeners. No.
Don't want the chrome for Alabama, personally.
Corey says, which team has the best logo in college sports? Oh, goodness. Best logo?
Like, we including the color scheme or just the logo itself?
Just logo?
Oh, man, that's tough. I really like Tulane's.
Mm-hmm.
Theirs is really good.
Not a fan.
You don't like that?
Mm-mm.
I like the little green wave guy.
I like Wichita State.
The Shocker.
The Shocker.
Yeah.
Theirs is good.
That's a good one. That was actually a trivia question I had for a. Anyways, trying to think.
I like their
Like
the
Arizona
tiger
State,
design
the
for
old
LSU.
the cartoon Sun Devil.
Sparky.
Love that.
Was supposedly, if you do a side by side, is Walt Disney
With a little mustache. I'll be dang.
Put Walt Disney next to Sparky.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because the guy that drew Sparky was a cartoonist for Disney who went to Arizona State.
Oh, that's cool. What's the Oklahoma State Cowboys name? I really like that old school cowboy logo.
Pistol Pete.
Pistol Pete. I
It's
like
definitely Walt Disney.
I like that one a lot.
Isn't that crazy?
That's Walt Disney.
Mm-hmm. Now the artist says that it was pure coincidence.
I would too if I was going up against the.
Yeah, that's not a lawsuit you want to be wrapped up in.
No.
You're not winning that one.
Not at all.
Then of course Oregon used to not be called the Ducks, and then they went with the Ducks moniker, and they used Donald Duck as the logo.
Corey says, "What about UAB's logo? I think the dragon is
It is
awesome.
great. Any dragon, for any sports team, you can't go wrong with it.
No, you can't.
It's cool.
And if you were going fictitious mascot battles, the dragon would be, it would be, no doubt in the semifinals.
Oh yeah, well, see, it's like the Seattle hockey team they got, like the Kraken. That's pretty cool, right? Like any mythical creature, you're typically gonna have a good logo.
If Bama's going to break from tradition, let's go full on Grateful Dead and tie dye. Get it? Tie dyed. I do get it. And I love your creativity. Clemson Tiger paw print is the best logo. It's a good one. I know that Georgia ripped it off, but I think Georgia's
Just
the G inside. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Packers logo. It's very
solid.
Yeah, I like the. I know it's old now, but I think a lot of people like the old Alabama with the with the elephant going through the block A.
That's good. I think
Big fan of
Iowa's
that one.
helmet. Sorry, Molly, but I think Iowa's helmet, that Hawkeye helmet, that is a good looking logo.
It's a cool. I will admit it's a cool logo.
Directly ripped off of the Steelers. And Hayden Fry admits it.
Really?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a main reason why UAB is called the Blazers is because the Portland Trail Blazers was the hot team in the NBA when the basketball team was created, and they really loved the name, so they shortened it to Blazers instead of Trailblazers.
That's cool. I did not. Okay, I didn't know that they were inspired by Portland. Very cool.
More of your text messages is a three-man front, 1-800-239-WJOX.
12:48 this Monday here on Three Man Front. Landrum, Molly, Conrad, Pat. Appreciate all your interaction today on this Reaction Monday. Currently viewing our Three Man Front Twitter poll question of the day. And Molly, we have introduced the Three Man Front helmet bracket. And first up is the Bear Bryant region.
Yeah, so we have Alabama up against Arkansas and Kentucky up against Texas A&M. And right now winning is Alabama with 76.9%. And between the other bracket, Kentucky is winning with 56.4%. And that's the one that's gone a little bit of more back and forth, I would say. More so than the Alabama-Arkansas one.
All right, you can continue to vote at the number Three Man Front. And also going back to a text that was sent in the last segment, guys, about the who has the best logo in college sports. And we threw out a few. But some would be off the wall. Like, I think that Wake Forest and the Demon Deacon logo, and obviously I went Sparky with the Arizona State, so maybe I'm just into cartoon-like logos. I love the Sailor Tiger.
North Carolina.
Or yeah, in North Carolina's case.
Mm-hmm.
Missouri has it. I know that Auburn has their version of the Sailor Tiger, which they don't really feature that much, but I know Missouri, they put it on their helmet. So yeah, those would be just a few.
Yeah, we talked about Oregon. I mean, they have the Sailor Duck that they'll use from time to time.
Sailor Duck is
like
good.
That one. Yeah.
Thinking Big Ten, what would be another one of those schools?
I'm biased, but I like the 1970s Herbie Husker.
Herbie Husker?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But again, I'm biased.
We threw out Iowa. I don't know if there's another one in the Big Ten that really...
I like...
besides Oregon.
I like the logo, not the flag being on the helmet, but the Maryland logo of the Terrapin, like the fighting turtle.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
All right.
That's
solid.
I enjoy that one.
Texas is... that's...
Oh,
I like it better upside down.
I like the Wisconsin Badger, the one of him like walking, I think, that old logo.
Oh, and the sweater or whatever?
Yeah, the sweater Badger.
That's a good one.
That's solid. Clemson, that was thrown out. I think that would probably get a lot of votes as well. Just checking to see, because there have been rankings and polls that have put out on this various subject. I was just wondering where some of the best lined up. This is good. Kansas Jayhawk.
Yeah, great
Again,
one.
cartoon.
That's a very good one.
Florida State's is solid.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the...
Osceola. I'm not talking about the Spear. I'm talking Osceola.
Do you like the Duke Blue Devil? Because that's kind of like a cartoony
Yeah.
looking...
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. I don't like it as much as Demon Deacon.
Yeah, no, well, the top
as
half,
much as Arizona State.
Back to the Big Ten, I like the Michigan State logos too. The Spartan, the old Spartan.
That's good.
And they have a script state that's really cool.
Army is a really good one.
Theirs is very cool. Yep.
In this particular poll, though, Conrad, your green wave, it got some votes. It made the top 20.
I like that little guy.
Alabama Scripted A actually made...
It's a very good one.
I
I didn't want to seem biased.
Not to be confused with the Atlanta Braves.
That's right.
It's different.
I'm trying to think. I like, again, it's just kind of basic, but like Toledo with the Rocket, I don't know. It's just kind of, it's different for college athletics. It kind of stands out a little bit.
Steve, yes, is not a Sailor Tiger at North Carolina. It's a Sailor Ram, but it's the Sailor.
Yeah.
But thank you. In case North Carolina fans were...
It's actually a Tar Heel.
Writing Jordan Hudson to let her know.
What?
She changed the helmet, didn't she?
Writing.
Sending an email. Bobby, what about the Tiger Eye LSU uses in the middle of the field and on their hoodies and other gear? Like it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Very solid.
Bobby agrees. Always been a fan of the Terps logo. And Christian says, Pat, I had no idea as a lifelong UAB graduate and fan that we were connected to the Portland Trailblazers. That was a really cool piece of information. Thank you for sharing that, Pat.
All these insignificant facts that I know. It's crazy.
Ooh, the old Hawaii logo. The UH with the rainbow attached to it.
Rainbow.
I think that one's cool too.
Me and Pat were very familiar with that because back in the day, you didn't have 10 games to choose from when it got late. It was just Hawaii.
That's right. 5 hours behind us.
Yep. And you watched it. You know you did. Michigan helmets. Yep. That's one of mine. In my helmet room, I have a collection, and Pat's got a collection too. But outside of the SEC, Michigan is one of those helmets I've always appreciated and liked. It's a good looking lid, in my opinion. The Navy and the UNC cartoon Rams are cool. Belichick agrees.
I know this goes back to the sailor, but the Miami, the bird.
Sebastian.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a good one. We just had somebody say the Notre Dame leprechaun. We didn't bring him up.
That's good.
It's a good one.
Yep. Samford logo. Sam. Yeah. Bulldog. Got that helmet. That's awesome. Oh, Jerry. Jerry is back at it, Conrad. He said, let Conrad go to Tuscaloosa, stand on the street holding up a sign about changing to black helmets. Let me know how it works out for him.
Oh, yeah,
RTR, the number 4, life, all caps. Conrad is an idiot.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
I once again added that. Jonathan did text back in and said, I was actually thinking that.
I see. You're speaking for everyone else that was trying to be nice to me, but yeah, it's okay.
Somebody asking about the trash pandas. It's a cool logo. Very creative.
Molly was showing me some of their, I guess, newer ones that they're doing.
Yeah, they're alternate logos. The butts and the white sauce.
That's good. Really good. All right, hour number 4, a 3-man front here on this Reaction Monday. We still have people that want to chime in on the phone lines. You can do so as well. We reset the stage. It's going to be a jam-packed hour number 4. Pat ponders as well. 3-man front continues on Jocks 94.5.
It is 1 o'clock. Time for the fourth hour of Three Man Front. The Paul Feinbaum Show will be coming up at 2 o'clock. It will be a heavy baseball-laden Feinbaum Show. Head coaches for Kentucky, Texas A&M, part of his scheduled guests coming up. Excuse me, not Texas A&M, Texas.
Did Paul one time Texas A&M? Still too soon. Did Paul play baseball growing up there in Tennessee? I know he played football.
No, he did not.
Okay. I know he's got really good hand-eye coordination from what I hear on the golf course.
He does. Yep.
He can dial it in. I just didn't know if baseball was his thing.
Excellent chipper. Very good around the greens.
Good around the greens. Does he have was he a Yankees fan growing up?
Yes.
Because he's got all the family there in New York.
To my understanding, I think his father was a big Yankees fan, so he kind of grew up a Yankees fan.
Oh, you should have me over to his new house. We can watch the Yankees together. I'm sure Paul would love that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever going to ask me to do
That's fine. If you get the invite, I'll go over there and watch the Yankees with you.
that. Oh, okay.
Yeah. We can do that.
There we go.
It'll be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Yep.
Thanks, Paul.
We can use public transportation. It's like we're going to the game there in New York.
That's maybe he'll come to Atlanta with us after media day, so just stay over and go to the Yankees and Braves series.
That's our dream, isn't it?
And, fingers crossed. Hopefully, Pat can pull some strings for us.
Yeah, that's right. 800-239-WJOX 205-834-9450. Michael wants to chime in on Jimbo Fisher. Hey, Michael.
Hey. Yeah, when can you see Jimbo? I mean, obviously there's no timetable. When can you see him getting back into coaching? I know it's all in what he wants to do. But this next year, the year after that.
His son is still on the roster, I believe. There at Samford.
He's a kicker, right?
Yeah. So, and Jimbo's not that old. He's only 59 years of age. But I don't see it this year. I would say earliest timetable, potentially the 2026 season.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Hey, thank you,
it.
Michael. We appreciate your phone call. You
That'll
see
be
that?
a special day when we get that announcement.
Don't you think we see Jimbo one more time somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
He gets that itch, right?
I don't think he's done.
I mean, he's got a big old pile of money that he has someone, I'm sure, managing, and he doesn't have to worry about that. But neither do, 98% of college coaches who have.
When he returns, will it be in the power conferences or?
Oh, yeah. There's no way.
You don't think he would ever go down to the?
No. Mm-mm. No, because and I don't know how his contract was officially written. Now he got the buyout, but if he gets another job, it's going to be offset. Unless it was the Gus Malzahn, Brian Harsin, got to pay me X amount in the next 30 days, that type of deal. But no, I don't know. You might be surprised. He might be a long time before you see him again.
He can always flash the national championship ring. He's one of very few guys that has one of those.
He's always got that. He was a very good assistant coach before he.
Any TV in his future?
I saw him do. I think it was it Barstool. He did some stuff for.
I think so.
Last year.
Oh, can we get a Jimbo Fisher and John Gruden podcast since John Gruden works at Barstool? I'd listen to that.
With T-Bob Hebert.
Yeah, he'll be the mediator.
Yeah.
I just don't see Jimbo's personality fitting that, but
who knows? He could always. What I think that God put him here for, and that was to be an auctioneer. What I gotta give for it?
He would be very good at that.
He would be awesome at that. Go ahead, Pat.
So the regular season college baseball attendance numbers have just been released. Out of the top 10, how many do you think reside in the Southeastern Conference?
Ooh, let's go conservative 8. I'm serious.
I was going to go 7.
I'll go 9.
9.
Ooh.
See, I said conservative.
Molly. Yeah.
The top 9 in attendance reside in the Southeastern Conference. Texas A&M at number 9.
I thought you were going to say they were number 1. They're number 1 at something.
Tennessee 8, Florida 7, Texas 6, South Carolina 5, Ole Miss 4, Mississippi State 3, Arkansas 2, LSU 1.
Looky there.
The only team in the top 10 not from the Southeastern Conference, FSU Dave, stand up and applaud your Florida State Seminoles at number 10.
Everybody, that's a hot ticket down there, given what they did or didn't do in football and basketball last year.
Yeah, they're loving this.
LSU baseball drew 387,000 people to their baseball games this year.
Wow.
I don't have the average, but that's the total.
It's a lot of peanuts.
30,000 less was Arkansas.
It's a big gap.
And then Mississippi State was third best in national attendance in baseball, but they were 57,000 less than LSU, and they were the third best. Shows you the difference. At number 9 was Texas A&M. They drew 181,000 less than LSU did.
Wow.
Wow.
What was the LSU number total?
387,484.
Let's just do some quick math here. They played 35 home games this year. That's 11,000 fans per home game.
So they average more people than the Birmingham Stallions.
Correct.
At Protective Stadium.
11,000.
I'm amazed that South Carolina, 251,000 people showed up for South Carolina baseball.
To watch that trash this year.
Which was better than Texas, who was the number 1 team for the majority of the baseball season, more than Florida, more than Tennessee, the defending national champion.
I give you guys what is considered right now as far as game day experience at an SEC baseball venue. What would be considered number 1? Because I think about Mississippi State and what they have going on in the outfield.
Mississippi State, Ole Miss, LSU. I would put those 3.
But if I made you, Pat, Ole Miss is off the table. If I made you pick one SEC baseball venue,
LSU.
It'd be LSU, Alex Box.
Yeah.
I think it would be for me too.
Yeah, that and then like Duty Noble would be in second for me. Because Mississippi State, what they have going there is fantastic. But yeah, LSU it's a great atmosphere, man.
I've never been to an Arkansas baseball game in Fayetteville, but it appears it's a really good atmosphere as well.
Yeah, you're hard pressed now in the SEC to find a venue it's a dump.
I think what Plainsman Park, what they've done at Auburn is outstanding.
Very nice. Yeah,
they've really improved that dramatically. Alabama did the renovation a few years ago.
Yeah, they did that when I was in school there with the Joe.
I hear great things about Tennessee. That it's a beautiful place to watch a game.
Yep. But that just shows you that just the being number 1 in college baseball, LSU outdrew Arkansas by 31,000 on the season.
I just can't. 11,000 per home game. That is
impressive.
Remarkable. Yeah, that's incredible.
Very much so.
Texts are still rolling in.
And in the last 2 years, by the way, the Southeastern Conference Baseball Tournament has set records in attendance.
What? Are you kidding?
So we'll see if we make it 3 in a row. Keep raising the bar.
Even with a rainstorm?
Mm-hmm.
And that was prior to them doing even more improvements.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
More chairbacks.
People are still actually attending that tournament.
So when you show up tomorrow morning for breakfast for the Alabama game, you're gonna see some really nice amenities.
I look forward to
at the Hoover Met.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all letting me go out there instead of work.
Will Alabama be wearing their traditional uni, or will they be going alternate?
Well,
In baseball, you know what's funny is in baseball, nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cares in basketball. But football, yeah, that's sacred ground.
So you're going to have black batting helmets? Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's what Rob Vaughn told me, so.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sharp look.
Sanitary socks and stirrups, and everybody's got to pull them up above the knee.
That's right. No, they're going to wear the old school, the shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With sliding pants.
That's right.
Or sliding
compression
bike shorts.
Pants, whatever.
Compression shorts. They called them bike shorts when we were younger.
Really?
That was a thing for a while. Now, you had to wear something on top of the bike shorts, but if you were playing athletically, it served as a little bit of a container, if you will. Kept everything where you felt nice and cozy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the long-term health ramifications.
I had always heard that, but
maybe there's something to it.
maybe so. Hopefully not.
More texts rolling in, 205-834-9450. And this one asks, Pat, why are you shocked? There's nothing to do in South Carolina. Zero to do this time of year. No fishing, no Southern Charm, no election, nothing. I think that was sarcasm.
Yeah.
About the she crabs.
With the she crabs.
Yeah. I had standing. I'd always. I don't know. Came. And this is Ross from Brent. Thank you, Ross. Then the Oakland A's and the Tampa Bay Rays currently this year.
Okay, so I figured out what Cody was trying to say.
Okay.
He reminded me of State.
Says, thanks for making my spew. Hoping that was autocorrect. You know,
Like Landry.
Landry.
It's better than a lot.
Family name. Jimbo to Miss Bowl Entertainment. Which on the sideline. Red.
Sign me up for that. Jimbo to Mississippi State.
All about it. Josh says, traveling to Cali in 3 days. I'll stop by Pasadena to check on Nico's well-being and then stop by Berkeley to give Harson a piece of my mind. Hope y'all have a great week of shows. Josh in Huntsville, thank you.
Yeah, go send us a picture from Smoke-a-Doobie Hill while you're at it.
Yeah.
Complete the trifecta.
Do you think Harson hangs out there?
You think he smokes?
I bet after those 20 running backs left in one day, he probably went and took a little break up there.
So instead of holding up his coffee cup this year, he holds up something else to the winners?
Cheers to me and my buyouts.
Got a big bag of edibles.
Gonna be a fun year in the ACC, isn't it?
Yeah.
For old Cal.
Wonder how the whole
this year.
One of our listeners down memory Tiger was the main late 70s. Aubie was Tiger cartoon by Phil Neal. News. His son Macro at Auburn in the those drawings were the Iron Bowl 1989, the first time the game that inappropriate, Fat Joe. Can't read it. And the answer is absolutely not. Never had that or any of the other things that would lead you down that road.
Any what?
The other things.
It's a very vague statement.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. A very bold take by Fat Joe. East Carolina Pirate logo is cool. Yes, even on a black helmet. It is.
It's a very good one.
Bama Haters says, speaking of helmets, why does Bama have the number 18 on theirs? It's because of Conrad and the jersey that Paige bought him.
Yeah, it's to memorialize Bray Hubbard for now and always.
What is the reason?
That's the Alabama recognized national championships.
Thank you, Pat.
You notice I said Alabama recognized national championships.
Some people 15, 16, it's 18. About to be 19, but
now we're getting photoshopped images of Alabama with the black uniform that Conrad has suggested that so many of you have hated, and you cannot see a number on this player. Well, maybe that's the identity this year. It's
yeah.
Like, look, we're not going to have numbers or names.
I tried, because we've had some people send some in. I went and threw something in Chat GPT during a break, and I'll be the first to admit it did not look good. So we would have to work. We would have to figure something else out because what AI is designing is not great.
Crimson stripes, white on white. Crimson stripe, white helmet.
Yeah.
Gray face mask.
I mean, it wouldn't look bad. It would look good.
The Alabama voting's down to 76%.
Oh, that's good.
This thing was what, 80, 81%, Molly? Not too long ago.
We're at 76.
Getting worried?
No.
Go vote at the 3-Man Front Twitter page. More of your texts, your calls. This is Reaction Monday. Jocks 94.5. One 119, Jocks 94.5. A reminder, tomorrow morning, we will be live at Social Taco. Come on by and see us from 10 until 2 o'clock. Doors will open up at 11. We'll be up on the Taco Terrace on the second level. If you've never been to Social Taco, we invite you to come enjoy the wonderful vittles and hang out for the conversation.
Vittles.
As we talk sports.
It's just some good old groceries, Pat.
That's right. Just some vittles.
That's right. Hey, how about our friends at Prize Picks? Tell you about them all the time, and hopefully, I know a lot of you've taken me up on it. Drake, one of our great listeners, he's one of the first when Prize Picks started their campaign and started letting everyone know about what you can do there for daily fantasy users. You can actually win up to 2,000 times your money. It's really simple. You download the Prize Picks app. It's free to download. You fill out your information, and when you do so and you set up your account, you enter promo code WJOX. It's very important you do so, and I'm going to tell you why. Once you have your first 2 or more player projection, your first $5 play, win or lose, you get $50 instantly back to your account. So download the app. Make sure you enter promo code WJOX in your first player projection, and you got to win 2 or more. You got to guess right on 2 or more. Then you're going to get $50 instantly back to your account to play with and have some fun. And it's not only professional baseball, which is where we're going to go today, but it's across college sports. You got professional basketball and the playoffs going on right now. Prize Picks is just a whole lot of fun. Today, I'm going to go Major League Baseball. I'm going to go with the Chicago Cubs. Sorry, Pat, but PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, he had himself a series. And when he is hot, he is hot. Today, this is one of those demon and goblin bets where they lower it, but your chances of winning are much greater. Just the payout's a little bit smaller. 0.5 hits plus runs batted in. So if he just gets 1 hit, he gets 1 run, he bats in a run, well, I'm going to be a winner. My second player projection, I am going to go St. Louis Cardinals. And Pat, I'm going to lean on you. You know your Cardinals very, very well as they take on Molly's Detroit Tigers today. We're going to continue to scroll down as I lost my place. Ooh, I'm kind of feeling Jordan Walker. That's one of those bets. 0.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. Or should I go Mason Wynn 0.5? Or with the guy that I got on my fantasy roster, your catcher, Wilson Contreras, 1.5 on hits plus runs batted in.
I would go Mason Wynn.
You're going Mason Wynn? All right, more. We're going to go more on Mason Wynn. So all he and PCA have to do is come up with a hit, an RBI, or a run. And both of those hit, I'm a winner. You can be a winner as well. Download the Prize Picks app today.
I want to remind everybody about our 3-man front helmet bracket. And we sent this out a couple hours ago. We will have 4 brackets. These are all SEC teams, Molly. And what is the update currently on the Bear Bryant bracket that we released?
So on one side of the Bear Bryant bracket, we have Alabama versus Arkansas. And right now, Alabama is winning with about 77%. On the other side, we have Kentucky up against A&M. And Kentucky is winning with 56.3, A&M with 43.8.
So if this holds, that means the next round, it will be Kentucky versus Alabama. Very interesting.
Cats by 90. For anybody that remembers that fun little time.
Yeah, you owned them in basketball.
Every time.
At that. Pulling in still. For 9450. In a picture. These are with a black uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck. And they can pull that off. Miami, you can pull that off. The culture around that city, it's very vibrant, and those colors, those seem to exclaim Miami.
See, and I'm a sucker for, because I know like the Heat do it. I think the Marlins have one now, but any of the Miami Vice kind of inspired uniform, like alternate uniforms, I'm always going to love those.
The white Miami helmet, in my opinion, that's one I really appreciated growing up. I like that helmet with the white face mask and the U. I think it's a good look. Steve says, hey, Conrad, how about the houndstooth helmet and uniform?
See, that one I'm not, no. That does not look good.
All right, Jonathan sends in a picture of an Alabama markup.
Okay, with the black with the red helmet?
Yeah.
That looks sharp. It's a black jersey and the numbers are in red and they're wearing the red helmet.
Can you send a picture of that to Fat Joe? Because he's texted in and he wants to see it. He's on your team, by the way. He's one of the few listeners that agrees with you on this whole change.
And I know I said black helmet, but now that I'm looking at this, black uniform with red outline and red helmet, that looks pretty gnarly. I'm just saying.
By the way, Fat Joe, I knew that you were kidding about the comment. There was no way that I could reconstruct it on the air. Hope you understand that. The Oregon Uni. Which one? This one reads, come on, Pat. Pat, you want to take a gander?
I used to have that helmet.
Did you?
I did. And it was, as I told you, my cousin played at Ole Miss. And played when Archie was the quarterback. And so we had, in our family, we had at times a jersey. And we also had one of those helmets. And I wish I still had that helmet. I do not.
That particular helmet, I always thought growing up that Vestavia should have adopted that. Now, I realize that things have changed.
Be a little bit controversial if anybody had that on the side of the helmet.
Yeah, and it's not a flag.
No, it's Colonel Reb.
Yeah. A caricature of Colonel Reb.
That for those that went to Ole Miss, they would love to see that back on campus. Maybe not on the helmet, but they went through many different, whether they're the Land Sharks or the Black Bears. A lot of different mascots roaming around there at the Grove.
Going back to the UFL and why it seems like interest has waned. This is legit. I commented earlier as to why the UFL is struggling. I thought of another reason, maybe the best reason. The women in our lives allow us to watch football from September to February. More football to them. Need I say more?
I think that's an interesting perspective.
See, my wife, she knows that I do it for a living, and she's in the media business. Just like I have to watch certain parts of the news that I would just rather not watch. But I support my wife, and if we're in there, I'm not going to leave the room. And she actually genuinely loves football, and she likes going to the events. But I think for a lot of guys out there, yeah, there's probably some of that coming from their better half.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the text. Another vote for the Michigan logo. Can't do it. Drake says, congratulations, my Gators softball team, for making history. The Gators run rule all 3 games in the same regional.
It's pretty remarkable.
That is. That's your stat of the day. Thanks for all the texts today. We appreciate it. Very clever, insightful, entertaining, and so much more. Pat's got questions that are all of those things and more. Pat Ponders on the way next. 3-Man Front and Jocks, 94.5.
132, Jocks 94.5. Coming up at the top of the hour, it's the Paul Feinbaum Show, heavy SEC baseball show. 3 head coaches will be joining Paul on the program. Also, Rick Burgess, who has a new book out. He will be one of Paul's featured guests coming up at the top of the hour. So you can keep it tuned right here to Jocks 94.5. We do this each and every day, brought to you by Courtesy GMC. This is what we call Pat Ponders. Brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trussville. Go by and see them right off of exit 32, I-459, or visit them online at courtesybirmingham.com. Here's an easy one. Question 1. Scotty Scheffler won his 3rd major yesterday. Does he come close or pass the 15 major championships, the record held by Tiger Woods?
I think come close. I don't think he meets or passes it. And the reason I say that, I could see Scotty Scheffler being one of these guys at some point in his career where he says, you know what, there are things that I value, I prioritize more in my life, like family, faith, and maybe, I'm not saying quits altogether, but maybe doesn't play the schedule that he plays now.
Yeah, I do not think he passes Tiger, and that's something that I'm sure eventually somebody will reach that mark, but I don't know if it's going to be somebody that we see in our lifetimes do it. I think that's one of those records that will be there for a while before somebody matches what he does. But I'll give him 10, right? I think he's going to go down as one of the best golfers of all time and one of the best golfers of this era, if not the best. But no, he's not touching Tiger.
I mean, he's only like 28. So he's got some time, but I think he'll come close. If I'm with Conrad, I don't think he'll touch Tiger.
I subscribe more to what Landrum said. I think if he was committed to play X number of years, I think he would. But he's already 4th all time in money won.
That's the thing. He makes so much more money nowadays.
And based on his family, I just see him as another 7 to 10 years. He goes, you know what? I want to develop golf courses now, or I want to do something else.
I want to start a charity foundation and do philanthropy. And
I want to be the golf coach at the University of Texas.
There you go. Yeah.
I'm done with the tour. That's what I think is more likely to happen with him than him just disappearing like Duvall and some other guys that we always wanted to say, oh, this is him and Tiger are going to be around forever. You know, remember that?
Yeah.
So we'll see. All right. Question number 2. If you're around Auburn University, you can get some great Tiger gear 50% off. Nike is set to take over Auburn uniforms later this summer. And as of right now, you can get Under Armour Tiger gear for 50% off. Saw a lot of stuff on social media over the weekend. Nathan King from Auburn Undercover, he tweeted out in the bookstore, everything 50% off. So my question is, are you a stickler for official gear, or are you completely fine with off-brands who have an official license to make your team's favorite gear?
I'm okay with it.
Do you personally buy things that let's just say, let's use the Braves, for example.
Yeah, and it would be Braves.
All right, so you got Nike is the official supplier of their on-field. Okay. New Era does their hat.
Okay.
So let's say that Adidas had the contract and they could do a Braves hat or a Braves jersey. Would you be open to that, or are you a stickler because you want the exact on-the-field brand that your team is wearing?
If it was Adidas, no. But I do, and I'm not sure about, I do have hats that are Braves. It's not like the game replica hat, but it's more of your I don't even know what your comfort fit with the adjustable band in the back that maybe has a. So when it comes to hats, if it's a cool hat, I'm going to buy it. But if it comes to a jersey or something like that, if I buy it, it's not going to be a knockoff. It will be the more inexpensive variety than what Pat gets the official one. I'm going to wear something that's a little bit easier for me to stomach if I spill something on it.
Yeah, this might be oddly specific, but generally speaking, T-shirts, fair game, right? If it's a T-shirt, whatever it is, I don't really care. I'm going to wear it. But like you're saying, if I'm getting like a nicer quarter zip, like those ones that I have, like they're not Nike, but they are a good brand. Like I want a good brand of the nicer things, or a jersey, right? I'm going to go and spend a little more money to have a real thing, or a polo. But if it's a T-shirt, or maybe even like gym shorts or something, I have some Alabama sweatpants that are not Nike, but like I wear them around the house, so who cares, right?
As long as I like the way it looks and it's comfortable, then I don't really care what brand it is. But that's just me.
Like Fanatics has some really good, but they would be licensed to do it, right?
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about like you go and somebody in their basement had screen printed a Braves logo. I'm talking about, like, for instance, you can go and there are plenty of people that pay the licensing fees for Alabama and Auburn that are not Nike or Under Armour, but they have the rights to sell
like
Auburn
Travis Matthew with the
like 47
with the MLB teams. 47.
I mean, there's some. I mean, you can go to Academy Sporting Goods and you can look in your favorite Alabama and Auburn section, and you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about.
And they probably have like Champion or Russell Athletic, or one of those types of.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, and would you have a problem if to go buy an Auburn Under Armour jersey, knowing that in about a month or so, it will be Nike?
Yeah, I would say anything that you have that you bought in the past, but I would not rush out to buy. If I knew that team was a jersey, that I knew that team was about to make that change.
Be kind of cool to have one of the final pieces of Auburn memorabilia. I don't know.
I'm anxious to see the Nike, how they will try to tweak the Auburn kits. Use a soccer term.
Yeah.
Kits. Well,
and word is on Rocky Top that Adidas is about to grab the Tennessee contract from Nike.
And I don't blame Tennessee one bit. They're familiar with the brand because they've worn it before. They've had that contract before. But also, some of these schools, if you get the opportunity and you get one of those apparel manufacturers that's willing to pay you top dollar for your brand, for you to wear their gear, there's a lot of athletic departments that are going to be looking for extra streams of revenue to be coming in. And if you can do it through your apparel deal and get a leg up, and maybe you net an extra $10, $12 million per season, per calendar year, yeah, do it.
All right, next question. So what month do you guys believe you sleep the least?
It's got to be the month of September.
I was going to say September, October.
Because of football?
Yeah, football's new. Our schedules are nuts. And I'm staying up late. I think a lot of it's just I get excited because it's that time of year.
Mm-hmm.
But travel schedule, work schedule, everything else, and then football on top of that, a lot of late nights.
Yeah, so definitely Septembers and Octobers, and even because I know a lot of us, we can't watch, you have UAB stuff going on. You work with UAB. We all have different things going on. You try to watch all the games on Saturday. You inevitably aren't going to get everything, so you're going to have to watch them on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
You have to watch the NFL as well, and then there's a lot of times you probably stay up late on Sunday, either rewatching Alabama or Auburn, or watching a South Carolina game you might have missed or something.
On top of
like
that, got high school stuff.
And and then on Friday nights you're busy. So September, October.
Now I would say September, October for all the same reasons, but when I was in college, it was probably more November for me because that's when we started having basketball games too. And there would be some weeks that I would have like 3 basketball games and a football game in November.
And then you got class, you got practice.
I got class, practice, tests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pat has a weird look on his face right now.
Yeah, Pat. What
like
about
you're
for
judging us for, is it a trick question? Is it February because there's less days in the month and so it's always February?
It's always February.
I knew he was going to
You know what? We took
this
this serious and he came out with one of those.
He was just sitting there while we're giving these like thought out
I thought
answers.
this was
and he's
such an easy answer.
Well thought out answers.
And you guys go
And
down
it's
this.
funny you said that, Conrad. That's the first thing, and I was like, no, Pat. I think Pat's being serious.
Yeah,
here.
I thought this was a genuine question.
Golly, Pat.
That's being a smart ass.
I definitely still think I sleep more in February than September.
I think I do too.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I get really drowsy when we get the shorter days. For some reason.
Yeah.
And it's cold outside.
You're right.
It's dreary. It seems like you hadn't seen the sun in a while. And then all of a sudden, I buy into why those folks go to Piccadilly at 4:30 to eat their lunch.
See, Pat thought he pulled a fast
their
one on
dinner.
us. We really pulled a fast one on him.
Mm.
How you like those turntables?
Huh?
I just thought that was going to be a really quick. I was going to be moving on to the next one as you guys. It's February. What? I mean, are you kidding me?
We just wiped the dojo mat with you, Pat.
No, all three of you just went right over your head.
Sensei. No, we didn't. We just told you. We were talking to inner self.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Here's BB's question of the day.
Yes.
Finally a good question.
Finally a good one.
What kind of relaxer are you? Here's your options. Recliner, lawn chair on a beach, porch swing, rocking chair, or blanket on the grass. Which one of those are you best typifies your way you like to relax the most? Recliner, lawn chair on beach, porch swing, rocking chair, blanket on the grass.
Lounge chair, beach.
I was about to say it's got to
In
be
a
on.
perfect world, yeah.
Yeah. See, yeah. It's
But-
not how you're relaxing most of the time. I do love a good recliner though.
Recliner is solid.
And if you have the reclining sofas now,
Yeah.
we don't have one of those. I wanted one so bad, and Paige said no.
Yeah. We got one of those in the sports room, which is nice. But the only problem that I have with the recliner is if it has a setting where you can almost lay all the way back where you're almost lying flat, get all the stuff out of your pockets because it can be very problematic.
Oh, when it falls in between the cracks and you got to dig. Oh, yeah.
Set of car keys,
Yep.
and then you're falling. And then, not with me personally, but I've known people that have had to cut through the upholstery to actually get that out.
Yeah, that wouldn't be fun. Plus,
It's tough.
if you lean back that far, you're probably falling asleep too. But I guess that's the point of relaxing. So,
It is.
yeah, I love a good recliner. Could you imagine a recliner on the beach? Not leather though. That would get way too hot in the sun. But that'd be nice.
Oh, like a cooling foam.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. Where it almost feels like you've wet yourself, but you haven't. It's just that cold air.
Yeah, but you have to question it.
You do question it.
I like that.
You just jump in the Gulf of America just in case.
That's today's Pat Ponders, brought to you by Courtesy GMC in Trustful. Go by and see them off of I-459 exit 32.
Really good stuff. We continue the Monday edition, Reaction Monday of Three Man Front. What do we react to next? You'll find out. Jocks 94.5.
Welcome back to Reaction Monday here on Jocks 94.5. Pat Landrum, Molly Conrad with you for a few more minutes. Some college football news to keep your eye on. Pat Forty is reporting that the historic Notre Dame-USC rivalry is in danger of ending. The contract between the two schools, and they have played 95 times. They played every year since 1924. 1 year remaining on the contract, and USC has offered a 1 year extension to play the game next season, not this upcoming season, but the following season in Los Angeles. And Notre Dame is not interested. Notre Dame is looking for a longer term deal with USC, and apparently USC is not inclined to give in to that as of this moment.
Is there any chance that this is just saying they're not worried about it? It's like, hey, we're going to join Notre Dame. We're going to join the Big Ten in a few years. So we're going to be permanent opponents or however the schedule is going to work anyways. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Well, according to Pat Forty, the Trojans are hesitant to enter into a long-term deal due to the uncertainty about the college football playoff.
Don't want another difficult opponent.
And USC also is discussing the demands of their heightened travel since joining the Big Ten Conference. So it was one thing that USC would go to South Bend every other year, but now since they have to go on that side of the Rocky Mountains a lot more because they're now a member of the Big Ten, well, whose fault is that?
Don't overpay for your head football coach.
Go play Indiana and Notre Dame back-to-back on the road.
USC has also presented the idea of playing the game as a season opening game for both teams. And apparently Notre Dame's not interested in that.
I like that.
But
they got to come and beat Texas A&M in those.
But see, Notre Dame, if you think about it, because Notre Dame, they go to Ireland and play some.
Yeah.
They've played games in Florida. So they don't want that USC game to be locked in every year as their first game.
And Notre Dame has to do it out of necessity based on.
Yeah, they're an independent.
Yeah, they're independent. And we know we got the guaranteed games that they have coming up with certain members of the ACC, but they still have to fill in those games. And
I'm just so ready for all this to be over with.
Yeah.
So we can stop with the lollygagging and kicking the can down the road when it comes to, well, the SEC, we don't know if we want to play 8 or 9 games because we don't know about the college football playoff. We don't know about the expansion. And now we're getting the Notre Dames and the USCs might not play because of the uncertainty of the college football playoff. Just come to a decision. Make it happen.
I'll say everybody just agree on something. We're all going to play the same number of conference games.
I think at this point, we just want it all resolved. Just be done with it. But get ready because next week will be, if there's still no answer from Judge Wilkin, and we get into next week in SEC meetings in Destin, that will just be a complete waste of time.
With USC and saying the uncertainty of the college football playoff, what are they waiting for the announcement of more teams? Is that?
I just assume they don't want another game on their schedule that, they could schedule a cupcake instead of USC.
It's the equivalent of the SEC waiting because they don't want to say, okay, let's play a 9th conference game. USC is sitting there saying, well, if the Big Ten gets 4 automatic qualifiers, then we would be in a better situation to play this game against Notre Dame. But if there's not automatic qualifiers except for the league champion, which it currently is, then USC has no interest in playing Notre Dame.
Well,
and then there was a story over the weekend. Don't you remember last week how there was one story that came out that said that the ACC was warming up to the idea of the SEC and the Big Ten getting 4 automatic qualifiers apiece? Mm-hmm. There was a story that came out last night that absolutely went against that idea and said that the Big 12 and the ACC are now pushing back against the idea of the SEC and the Big Ten getting 4.
So what do we know what in that scenario? Do they just want everybody to have only 2 automatic qualifiers? I'm assuming they would just want all of the power conferences to have the same auto bids.
I personally believe Jim Phillips and Brett Yormark are getting those articles written by people that are friendly to those conferences because they don't want to come across as weak.
So it's like, oh, we did everything we could, but our hands are tied, and ultimately we just had to, it happened. But we didn't want
They
it to.
voted to give the SEC and the Big Ten the power to do that. If you had a problem with it, then you shouldn't have voted for it. Pretty simple concept.
You're right.
By the way, I like this back timer music.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I hope everyone else does too.
Sounds like we're in a TV drama.
Well, it'd be impossible for it to be received better or worse than my Alabama football uniform ideas. So,
Pat, you don't think so? TV drama?
Very kind of like L.A. private investigator.
Yeah. It's showing us going through the course of our day. We're driving into work. We've got the rush hour traffic, and we're about to start our day. And what an adventure it's going to be for the audience in that particular episode. Because we're always up to something and trouble finds us.